there, everyone, and welcome to the 243rd episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast. We are just a handful and a smidge more away from 250 episodes. It is the Fake Nerd Podcast, and we are here to discuss The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Is it called The Conjuring 3?
No, it's called
The
Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
I'm just making sure. Sorry to interrupt.
Because the devil made him not put a 3 in there.
Good, you got to keep that quality level up for those numbers.
Quality level. That's something we'll discuss later. I'm Sparks Witty, and I'm joined, of course, with Ryan Eliopoulos.
It's me. I am also here.
And, of course, Ben Magnet.
Devil made me do nothing.
Yeah. And Brandon T. McClure.
Hello.
Hello. How are you guys doing? We are 1 week away from being 5 years old.
Ooh!
We are.
Oh, yes, we are.
We're walking, we're talking, we're getting there.
Still wearing diapers, maybe? I don't know how babies work.
Yeah, neither do I, honestly. Angelica's supposed to be 3 in the Rugrats, and I don't get how.
From 1 to 4, I'm just like, you're all cool.
Yeah, like Angelica's supposed to be 3, Chucky's supposed to be 2, and then Tommy and everyone else is like, what, 1 or
Angelica
something?
with the blonde hair is supposed to be 3?
Yeah.
That's why she can talk to her
I thought
parents.
she was like 7. Not really.
Then how can... Nope. I'm not going to go into it.
Anyway, we do have links below, if I may.
What about...
Sure.
I can't keep making a Zelda joke. Never mind. Forgive me.
We have only a couple. We didn't do a lot this week. But we did do one cool thing that makes up for all of it. That's not below, though. Ryan, you have 2 downright annoyeds.
2?
The one from last week went up after our recording because we did this so early last week.
Oh my god, that's right. That's
We did
great.
an early morning one.
Literally the opposite of today. I love it.
So both of those are up below. Do you want to talk about them?
Was the last one Mad Max?
Boy, that's a good question.
Whatever it was, I'm sure it was great. This one we did was WALL-E. And you guys, I haven't watched WALL-E in at least a decade. Like, I definitely haven't watched it in at least 5 years. That might be my favorite Pixar movie.
It's a really good one.
I forgot that like half the movie is just like this silent like comedy act between these two people just like figuring each other out, and I'm like I just wish the whole movie was like that. Like the human stuff's amazing and great, and like I love that WALL-E is the humanity that rejuvenizes the humanity that the people are lacking, and like all the robots become better because of WALL-E, and all the people become better because of WALL-E, and I'm like,
and you love space movies.
And I love space movies, and it looks so good. And I forgot it came out in 2008, and like that's not like it's like that long ago, but like that movie holds up and it looks incredible. And like I forgot Fred Willard's in it. It's like a real person. I forget real people are in this movie sometimes, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of weird. WALL-E's amazing.
It was Dread, by the way.
Dread's great. Oh yeah. Oh. That's also like what I did this week. So yeah. I'm glad I have to talk a lot about WALL-E.
So Dread, WALL-E. I was on Kaiju Weekly. The episode of Kaiju Weekly was up where I got to talk about Pacific Rim, one of my all-time faves. It was really great to just talk about that movie, and I kind of came to the realization because of the way Kaiju Weekly is formatted, of like, you know, what did you not like about it? It's like, you know, if I have to in like a setting, like a podcast setting, I could critique this movie.
Oh, sure.
I'd really rather not, because so much of that movie is working for me that it's just like, why should I just talk about the little things that I didn't like when I could talk about the big things that I love?
Yeah.
I really like that movie. It was a lot of fun talking to people at Kaiju Weekly. Travis and Michael, they're great. There are now 3 episodes that we have shown up on in Kaiju Weekly, so definitely check those guys out. Those episodes have all been linked below before. You can check them out on his feed. I highly recommend go just subscribe to that guy's channel. They're great.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Kaiju, I also have a link below for Conversation. My latest episode of Conversation is up where I talked to Robert L. Kelly from the Record All Monsters podcast. That was a lot of fun. He was a really cool guy to talk to. He's the first person I talked to in the Kaiju fandom. I will have more soon. But yeah, that was fun. We also got to play a bit of a game for one of his from his podcast. There was some recording issues that I had to kind of edit around, but I think I made it work.
Yep, nice.
Sparks, in fact, messaged me saying that I made it work, so I appreciate that. And then our last thing of the description is our Fake Nerd Book Club audio feed is done. We made it to the end of that. Little Char and the Gang. The last episode of Little Char and the Gang is up audio. So now you can watch both. You can watch that on video, and you can listen to it audio for you audio listeners. That was the end of that book, about 103 to 155. Well, the end at the time. There's more now, but
yeah.
And that's all the links below.
Yep. We linked it up.
Yeah. I do want to say one more thing though. Our anniversary is coming.
It is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Didn't forget.
Our 5th anniversary is coming, as Spark said. On Saturday, you are all getting a very special treat. Our 5th anniversary Fakener Podcast Annual 2021 is coming, where we get to celebrate 5 years of doing this podcast.
Ooh, hot doggy.
And as Ben says every year, can you believe it?
I never can.
I know, it's always unbelievable.
You're invited to a gala of nerddom. How about that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for with the background. Like, this is a celebration. That's a celebration. You know, it kind of fits.
But I don't think we're gonna change the world like the X-Men are. Not yet.
And it definitely wasn't just because I liked the background. Hello, Mag.
Hey, Mag.
Mag is in there saying, "Neat. Be more excited, Mag. We shout you out."
Oh, we totally did.
In that anniversary.
Days.
So you can check that out on Saturday. It's coming, guys. 5th anniversary. I'm really excited. It was an incredible time. It's the first time we've all been able to record together in the same room. I think the audience is going to love it just as much as we did doing it. So I'm really excited for you all to see it.
It's a good time.
It's a really good time.
And that's it.
Awesome.
That's everything I wanted to bring up beforehand outside of my week. And because I talked too long, someone else go.
To Thong?
Thong song?
That's definitely what I meant to say.
Ben, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I feel like I did the least amount of stuff this week. I didn't
Don't
do.
say that.
No way, brother. No way.
Okay, maybe Sparks might beat me on this one. So I played video game wise. I played a tiny little bit of Fortnite when I came home from work on Friday night. But besides Fortnite, I also decided to do a little digging, or not digging, but I bit the bullet and I downloaded Shantae, the original Game Boy Color game, on my Switch. Now I have this download title on my 3DS, but my 3DS is pretty old. It's the D-pad is a little chipped here and there, so like some of the plastic coatings coming off. But I mean, luckily, thankfully it still works. It still functions, so that's good. But I'm like, oh, this thing's probably not gonna last forever. But luckily, if you just change the SD cards, all your data is saved, so that's no worries. But when I downloaded Shantae on my Switch, I noticed something. It's a lot different than what you can get on the 3DS, because this digital download is from when Limited Run Games put out their physical version. You boot up the game, or you boot up the title, you get to see Limited Run on it, and it not only has the original Game Boy Color version, but also the Game Boy Advanced Enhanced version as well. Because if you had the original cartridge and you slapped it into a GBA, then you get the Game Boy Advanced version of it with all the little extras that were included. Because when the game came out, it originally came out in 2002, about a year into when the Game Boy Advance was available.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Would you say that they made a limited run of them?
Physical games, yes. I saw a physical version of the game at Frankenson's a while ago. Guy was selling it for $85. Luckily, the digital one is only $10. So if you want the digital version, go. You're just like, sweet, you don't have to worry about it.
And you get 2 games for 1. Look at that.
Digital is often cheaper.
Yep. Yeah, especially when they decided to do that. But I mean, I played a little bit of Shantae, and actually some of the buttons were switched around from the 3DS to the Switch version. And it was really weird. So I had to like change the buttons, but I like the Switch button layout a little bit better. And I'm still super early in the game. I just barely beat the first level. But so far I'm enjoying it. I'm willing to go back. Shantae has been a cult classic in the retro video game circles for quite a while. I actually got one of her Switch games that recently came out that I can't wait to try. So this is definitely a game series that I'm looking forward to. It's a fun platformer. You're a half genie. You get to do dances and you turn into different magical beings. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
I don't know if I remember my history right on the original Shantae, but it's like a Mario hack that they turned it into like a different game. Like somebody like hacked Mario into like a like lady new game, but using the Mario like system. That's what I remember about that game. And it was like partially illegal, and then they just made a real one that later.
You know what? I believe it.
I heard something with the original.
I don't know if that's not 100% true or not, but earlier today when I was having dinner, I was talking to Fanny about how Miss Pac-Man was actually a ROM hack of Pac-Man just because they wanted to make Pac-Man harder. And then they went to the people who actually own the license for the American distribution of Pac-Man and be like, yo, we did something, and they liked it, and they made it legal.
Yo, bro, you see that? Yo, see that yellow thing over there? She's got a bow on her head.
Real quickly, Ben.
Yeah.
I hate to do this now that we're live, but Sparks and Ryan, is your microphone turned around?
No.
Okay, then I'm just hearing things. You sound fine then. You sound a little quieter than normal.
Ben, continue talking.
Go ahead, Ben.
Nope.
All right.
No, actually.
So besides playing a little bit of Fortnite and a little bit of Shantae.
Hey.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Glad you said something now. Thank you, Brandon.
Sorry about that.
We asked earlier, didn't we?
I don't know.
Did you?
I thought we did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we said we sound good. Yeah.
It's
I was
okay.
busy. I
fine.
apologize.
I'm glad we did it now. Continue, Ben. Sorry.
No, I'm done. That's all I can. That's all. Besides, do you want to know if I went to the gym? That's all. Also, I did. That's pretty
Give
much
me
it.
week by week, moment by moment, what you did, Ben. Go.
Don't you mean day by day?
Yes.
Work, gym.
Don't
sack.
actually.
Pass
Okay.
the power. Pass
Anyway,
the power.
right?
Pass the power. Did we play Fortnite?
You and I played nothing this week.
I watched WALL-E, and I watched the movie we're reviewing today, and then I watched a lot of Kitchen Nightmares. I might have played Avengers.
Read any X-Men?
I read one issue of Marauders, and it was 17, which is 4 behind the one that just came out.
You've
Got it.
had a
Okay.
week.
So I worked 9-hour days every single day.
Yeah,
so
no,
I
I
can't.
get it.
I can't wait to have tomorrow off and maybe do something.
Right.
Go ahead, Sparks.
Sparks?
Okay. I was in Monterey for a chunk of time, as I obviously was last weekend when we recorded. And I didn't come home till midway through this week. And when I did, then I spent time working on a special project. So I didn't do a lot of consuming media. I was spending time because everybody was vaccinated. I was seeing a lot of people I haven't seen in a very long time,
Nice.
getting to see them. I was spending time with my family. So there was just a lot of that. A really dear friend of mine recently had a stroke, so I was spending a lot of time with him as he's recovering. And so that was a lot of what my focus was. And then when I came back, I spent 3 days in a row working on a special project. And pretty much only that.
And you'll see that.
But in the middle there, in a little in between cracks, I had a little time for 3 things. One was playing a little bit more Knockout City because I absolutely wanted to make time to play some Knockout City. I played with Brandon up there and friends of the podcast, Marty and Sam.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a good time.
Glad we did that.
That was fun. That was fun. And then outside that, I watched, I think, literally 1.5, maybe 2. Can't quite remember because I did have to pause one midway through. I think I actually just ended up starting it over. More episodes of Castlevania.
Mhm.
I'm about halfway through that season. I'm enjoying it, but I haven't had a lot of time to commit to it. I kind of regret that I started it and then it's just stalled out this week. I kind of wish I'd.
That's
ended up
why I
just
can't
waiting.
start it. That's why.
I honestly thought I'd be able to keep ahead of it.
Yeah.
I thought I would have more time, honestly, to myself in Monterey because, like Megan would have to go to work, my mom would have to go to work, but
Yeah.
honestly, people filled my house very quickly,
man, friendship's important.
and I had no time. So I thought I would have time. I thought I'd have more time, and I didn't. And the one other thing I did, because I did so little, we're now going to spend some time talking about the Friends reunion special. So that's the one other thing I did, and I'm going to talk about it because I like Friends fine. I think there's an amount where it's just, it is a cultural phenomenon, so it just is there, and it's because she loves it. It's part of my continuing culture, but I certainly grew up with an attachment to Friends. It's part of that cultural zeitgeist, so it has a nostalgia appeal to me. I think I only want to talk about this really because we were talking about it in terms of HBO Max and why we were curious why they had to push this reunion special out, that kind of thing. Half of the reunion special is the actors returning to the rebuilt set and sitting and chatting. And I think that part of the special is exceptionally cool because regardless of like how much I care about the show or anything, the connection and history of these people coming together after all this time and just sharing stories and memories and the emotional impact that's between them, and not someone prompting them just sitting on the set in a circle expressing things to each other with an amount of vulnerability that was certainly cut around but is still present, was really cool and unique, and not what I thought the special was going to be.
How long is it?
It's almost 2 hours.
Oh, that's long. I thought it was going to be like an hour.
It's stuffed.
Okay, cool.
It's a stuffed thing because it's cutting between. So they did this all. Most of it's done through the course of a single day, which is that they spend the day, just them, and you're cutting between these things. But they spend the day just them on the set, just them talking with with camera people around them, but they're not engaging with them. Nobody is asking them questions. They are allowed to just talk to each other and focus on each other. And that is how they spent the day, wandering around where they used to do their wardrobe stuff, where they used to do a huddle before each episode, talking about some of their strongest memories of each other.
Smelly cat.
How they feel having, like, some of them having revisited the show because their kids are watching it and remembering watching each other because, like, they purposely wouldn't watch the show, but then their kids started watching it, so now they're watching their old friends. I think there's a very beautiful Matthew Perry says probably the least in this, but he has the final note, and I think it's a really powerful statement that he says, which is that he expresses, the thing is, when one of us bumps into each other at some gathering or event or party or something, we just apologize to whoever we're with, because we know we're going to be with that person for the rest of the evening. So
that's cute.
And that's happened to all of them. So that whenever they see each other, they just know they need to reconnect. And they go and they have their private moment. And that's how close-knit they are. And I was like, that's a really beautiful sentiment for him to have expressed. Yeah. Now, all of that was juxtaposed with the interview portion that they did that night, hosted by James Corden in front of a crowd during COVID.
They got James Corden to do it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Which all feels very like, did you have to do this part?
Yeah.
Now, part of that has some nice moments. They have the actors who played Ross and Monica's parents in the audience to express some with the actors, which is really cool. Bringing back actors from the show was a really cool moment, but a lot of people have pointed out it's kind of weird. Some of the people who didn't get to be part of this, people like Paul Rudd, who was a main character on the last 2 seasons, is nowhere to be seen, yet we're going to hear from David Beckham about what he thinks of Friends.
I wonder if it was like a scheduling thing.
To be honest, part of it comes across more as
unnecessary. Or
here's what Megan and I discussed. The special was clearly arranged. It's edited and planned. There's weird editing things all over the place in this special. How they decide to cut it up, or what audio traces they leave behind, things like that. It's clearly somebody who's not very attached to the show running how this special looks, what it does, who it features, and that kind of thing. Someone who's not thinking about who was involved. There's all these moments that should have been given to, like, you should have gotten back this impactful person, or Tom Selleck's there, but he's barely allowed to do much other than ask a simple question. And it's like, Tom Selleck should have had a whole moment with the cast. He was also a member for practically 2 seasons.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is in 2 episodes.
Bruce Willis is in a lot of episodes. He's only in half a season.
No, he isn't. I promise you. No, I promise you, he's not in that many episodes, buddy.
This show,
Megan watches Friends
in this house all the time.
Every night.
Yeah.
Either way, he was an important part of that show that a lot of people remember. And if he's doing nothing other than doing shitty movies that he doesn't want to be doing, he could have shown up.
I guess I think more of like the guy who played the super for The Building, who was in like multiple seasons, even if only like a handful of episodes at a time. That actor isn't called back in at all, but the guy who played the neighbor who died in the first season is back. They're just bizarre choices of who they decided to include and for how long. And
maybe it's like the easiest people they can get.
It could be, but again, like, it prompts this thing like, why'd you have to do this during a pandemic? Why'd you have to rush in this way? Especially because some of these people are just sending in video things where they're expressing something. And I'm like, in that case, you could call up the guests, you could do all these things to engage with them, but you're not. And you very much feel like what is so special and unique about the cast just sitting together on the set and reminiscing and expressing these things is kind of marred by the other half of the special being clearly doctored up as like higher ups above HBO Max needing to get this special out and needing to market, and they're affecting their decisions on what they think is relevant, what they think is important, how to get at an audience for specific things. And like, not all of that is amiss, but some of it is a little off, and certainly not feeling like it's coming from the same place that the Friends actors are speaking from, and that makes the special feel a little lopsided in a way, which was a really weird and unique way to walk away from feeling about it, because I'm like, I would have almost rather that the entire thing was just them getting to chat with each other and not even done any of this, if you're not going to allow much time from the people who were involved in the show to begin with. The only other relevant cutaways are interviews with the people who created the show. The three main creators of the show. And I understand why we get those cutaways. Those aren't a problem to me, but everything else, I'm like, just leave it on the actors. There is one nice celebrity guest moment, and it's Lady Gaga coming in and doing Smelly Cat with Lisa Kudrow, which I think is really sweet. Lady Gaga expressing that Lisa Kudrow's character of Phoebe was a nice representation of, being being her truly herself. And Lisa Kudrow expresses, I'm really glad you picked it up and you carry that on now.
What are they
and so it's really nice. But past that, a lot of these extra bits felt like they were distracted and not seeing the full scope of what they were doing.
That's a shame.
Right, not even Ross's ex-wife is a big one for sure.
Acknowledge chat. Max says, "Wish we could have more screen time with the co-stars," and not even Ross's ex-wife or Julian.
I think those people who didn't show up in the special.
It's just really weird because like you can feel where they're allowed to just kind of express themselves, and you can also feel where like this is being manufactured as a product for you by people who don't necessarily understand what's important to the people who worked on it.
That's weird.
I'll disagree. I hated Lady Gaga being a part of the special.
I mean, you're allowed to disagree.
I hated seeing Mindy Kaling and David Beckham and all those people who are not part of the show.
On that. I'm with you.
I hated every single time we cut away to someone else. The Smelly Cat sequence is so out of place, going to what you're talking about, like editing really badly. It feels so out of place to me. I disagree with that. Yeah. And I just would have rather them not not do it, and B just have people if you're going to do those cutaways, do it with people that you clearly didn't film at the same time. Do it with the people who are part of the show and not with people who weren't. Like, I don't go to a friend's reunion to watch Mindy Kaling or James Corden or whoever the hell they got.
I fully agree with you. There is a particularly stupid fashion show bit where they have Justin Bieber and Cara Delevingne come out and wear different outfits that were used on the show, which just is dumb.
Yeah, awful.
No thanks.
Except when Joey puts on that costume.
Yeah, but that's why it feels like it's there. It's there just to get him in that costume at the end. It's hard to recommend watching it. I think maybe it really depends on your relationship with Friends to begin with.
Maybe just watch the one part.
I wish if you could but because it's all cut up throughout.
Oh, that's
nice. My thing. Is like you have to like jump around for it.
Make the
but if you
had
a way where you can just watch them on the set and you just want to watch it for those bits are really nice regardless, I think, of your relationship with Friends. They're just really nice to watch as actors expressing this connection to each other, which is just natural and something that would happen when you work on a show that popular for 10 years.
So just have your Nintendo Switch, and every time it switches back to James Corden, you pick up your Switch.
Yep. Yeah.
I do think it's there are worse ways to spend a little under 2 hours, especially if you like that show. It's just kind of nice to be with those people again.
For sure.
I guess no one told us that life is going to be this way. That's a shame.
Boy, that's true. Good, Sparks?
Yeah, that was it. That's all I got.
All right. I saw a movie called Dream Horse. That is Toni Collette's new movie from Bleecker Street. By the way, Toni Collette's in a band. I don't know if you guys know this.
I do now.
I did.
That's pretty. I looked her up because I was wondering what nationality she was, because she's Welsh and Dream Horse. And it turns out she's Australian, and in Australia she's part of a band.
Oh, sweet.
Right on.
It's like Toni Collette and the Somethings. I don't remember what it's called though.
Hereditaries.
If you guys are looking for some Toni Collette material to binge, I highly recommend The United States of Tara.
Oh yeah.
There's also a young Brie Larson playing her daughter on that show.
Mhm.
So if you can ever find your way to it, highly recommend it.
I really like Stream Horse. It's a movie about it's about a racing horse that's adopted by this town and oh, I don't actually know where the town is. It's based on a true story though. About this horse like changed everyone's life and whatnot. And Toni Collette's good in it. She's good in everything. But it's kind of a nice feel good movie that I really enjoyed.
Nice. Dream Horse.
I'll talk about this here. I started the Fast and Furious marathon that I'm going to do to get ready for Fast 9.
Ride or die.
Actually, this brings up a question. Sparks, am I crazy, or did they say that they were going to do 11 movies?
They said 11.
Okay, so then why did Vin Diesel say we're getting ready for the finale when he's talking about filming 10?
Maybe they are thinking of 10 and 11 at the same time.
Maybe.
That could be. There you go. Okay.
They might be Lord of the Ringsing it.
Yeah.
I mean, because they've got Justin Lin shepherding them through all the last 3. So
yeah. So it was weird. Anyway, but so 9 is coming out this year. It's a big year for franchises that I love. So 9 is coming out this year, and my girlfriend has never seen them. She's only seen Tokyo Drift and 8.
Oof, that's that man. Those are gaps.
So
very big gap.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, I'm gonna show you them.
From that perspective,
what is that franchise?
Han dies, and then this guy killed Han, but it's okay. We're cool with him now.
Yeah. we don't even see like the part when he was a bad guy or whatever. Or is that 8? Or was he that 7?
8.
That
He's a good guy. 7 and 7.
That's
8 is where
he saves the baby on the plane.
He saves the baby on the plane.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, so I'm going through the franchise again. So I watched the first 3 this past week, and because of my girlfriend's work schedule, we started so early. I'm sorry to say. So Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, because I'm not doing that weird chronology thing that puts Tokyo Drift after 6.
Oh, I'm definitely doing it. I'm doing it. Next time I watch it all the way through, I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work.
I know it doesn't work, but that's what they decided.
The context of Han's death, regardless of the context of how we get to Han's death, it just doesn't work.
I'm with you, bud, but technically 7 follows up on Tokyo Drift because you get the moment of Vin Diesel seeing the guy right after, and he's just suddenly a decade older. And he's already too old to play the age he's played.
It is really nice watching Tokyo Drift, though, and I noticed some characters in the trailer for 9 that are coming back, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
I am so.
Let's just talk briefly. I really like Fast and Furious. I think the Fast and the Furious is a really good movie. Too Fast, Too Furious is a burning pile of garbage, and man, that really sucks because that's the only movie that Eva Mendes is starring in the Fast and Furious franchise.
I don't think that movie's very good, but I do think the car scene in the 3rd act is solid. Like the whole chase, I think holds up.
Okay, I didn't think so this time around.
I mean, I'm basing that on 4 years ago. Yeah.
And you could very well think that way this time as well. I was very bored in Too Fast, Too Furious. I thought it was. To me, it's kind of like what the worst the franchise could be in terms of like stupidness and boringness.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyrese Gibson is probably giving his best performance as Roman.
Yes, because he had to try back then.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one where he yells ejectocito or something?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all right.
Every now and then there's a Tyrese Gibson moment, but like most of the time he's playing it pretty straight. But especially back then, Paul Walker doesn't work without Vin Diesel.
Do they end that movie by crashing into a yacht?
They do.
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
I'm remembering that movie correctly.
Now, Brandon, do you have any more to say about Too Fast, Too Furious?
Not Too Fast, Too Furious, no.
Okay, now I wonder if you know how they live in Tokyo. You want to see me? That's all I remember from that song. But it's
by the way, all 3 of those original movies have an original song written for that movie.
That's awesome.
The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and Tokyo Drift all are title song.
Do you guys remember when Linkin Park wrote a song for a Transformers movie and it was literally the worst Transformers movie?
You mean New Divide?
Yep. I mean, the song's fine. I'm just saying
That's the first one,
they
right?
wrote
Yeah.
the
That's the second one.
I mean, they wrote like songs for like.
No. They've used Linkin Park songs in the other movies. They wrote a song for Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and it was New Divide.
That song is not good.
Yeah, I like that song.
I like
Movie's
that song.
garbage.
That
No, the
movie's
song is good. Movie not so much.
Anyway, Tokyo Drift though, I had a really good time.
Yeah, it's good. It's
And I was-
Christopher Nolan's favorite.
It's Justin Lin. It's the first time directing. By the way, that creative team has gone on. Justin Lin, Chris Morgan, creative team, started on Tokyo Drift and just kept going until James Wan took over.
Yep, that's awesome.
And I was like, wow, I'm watching the same guys who made Fast 5, which is to me the best one.
I think that movie is only truly hurt by a really bad lead actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like who should not be playing the role he is. It just doesn't work on almost any level. His accent is bad. His performance
You know what's
is
crazy
bad.
though? That's what he actually sounds like though. That just means he's a really, really bad actor. Because like, if you watch interviews, he sounds like a southern, a really bad Brad Pitt.
he just the wrong pick. He's too old for the part he's playing for the story
he's
he's
supposed
supposed
to be like a teenager,
convey.
right, or something?
Yes.
Jesus.
It just all around just doesn't from that time period even doesn't make sense. I'm like, there are actors who would have been better choices for this role and more age appropriate at that time.
Yeah.
Just weird. He really pulls that movie back for me.
Yeah. No, 100%. But for the most part, I found it silly and not in the same way that Too Fast, Too Furious is. It's silly in kind of a fun way.
Yeah.
Much more what we see with Fate of the Furious. But then I just kind of I really like the race sequences. I think those are really well done. It's got my favorite character. Han is my favorite character in the franchise. But it's awful. Lead actor is just slowing that movie down. But all in all, I liked it a lot more than I like Too Fast, Too Furious. Nowhere near my favorite Fast and Furious film, but I had a good time.
Nice.
Since you brought up Han, we're talking a little Fast and Furious talk. While I was in Monterey, I showed the F9 trailer to a friend who has watched the movies, likes the movies, but had not watched any trailers for the new one yet. And I offhandedly mentioned about Han returning, and I'm like, yeah, I hope he's Cyber Han. And he's like, what do you mean? And so we watched the trailer, and he sits there for a moment, and he looks at it after Han has made an appearance. And this is the most recent one where he's shown shooting people with the gun and everything.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and he's like, he's going to be a clone. And I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God. Man, listen, Hobbs and Shaw, despite being like a different movie, it's the same franchise. So like
same world.
They introduced like meta humans. Like Idris Elba was like a super powered man in that movie. He had like nano or just enhancements or whatever. So I'm like, go into
everything's
space.
on the table.
And, yeah, blow it up.
Yeah. Look, I've mentioned my displeasure with the direction that Fate and Hobbs and Shaw are taking the franchise.
Yeah.
But I'm there for the ride.
Yeah.
The only time I'll get off this ride is when it's done.
Ride or die. That's how it works.
Except I might not see Hobbs and Shaw too, personally.
Oh, I don't.
Yes, you will.
Hobbs and Shaw's.
Come on.
I didn't really like it.
I thought it was super fun.
I didn't really like it.
That's fine.
Go back to my review. You'll see I gave it a low score.
I won't do that, but I believe you.
No shame. Like it's fine. I don't care. It's Hobbs and Shaw. It would be worse if I said I didn't like a movie Paddington 2. Then you could castrate me because I saw that this week as well. Like that segue. Like that segue.
You cannot.
I had a horrible week in here in my head. So after a while, I just kind of felt like watching something wholesome, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch Paddington 2.
That's a good one.
And I'm always mindful that I have the ability to really over exaggerate my feelings for a movie, but I truly believe that the Paddington 2, no hyperbole, is a perfect movie, and I was sobbing watching it again because that movie just breaks my heart and puts it back together and hugs it and then kisses it and then ends, and I'm like, thanks, this is great, thank you.
Everything's going to be all right.
I love that little bear.
I'll watch it eventually. That first one is still like also a perfect movie, I think. So like,
yeah,
there's another one of those.
Yeah, I think they did it twice.
Incredible.
The second one I prefer the second one only because Hugh Grant's incredible.
Haven't seen a single one.
One day
you should.
I should.
Sparks hasn't seen 2, but only seen one. Yeah, you guys will watch it eventually. You're for friends with me.
Yeah, sure. That's what happened with Ghostbusters.
Sparks, you missed something though that we did this week. We went to see Back to the Future.
Oh, that's right. We did do that.
Wow, my brain. I completely forgot about that. Holy crap.
Yeah, we went.
The thing we did in the evening wiped away the rest of the day for me.
That's fair.
You know what? Yeah, it did that too.
We all went to see Ben Sparks and I went to see Back to the Future.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. We rented out a private screening, watched this old movie. I never saw it on the big screen before, and yeah, I had a great time.
One of the things I want to say is I felt like I caught a few more dialogue bits. I mean, because I've obviously seen this movie almost 100 times. I freaking adore this movie. And even watching it on the big screen and hearing it through that sound system, like, I never actually understood what he said that time. Now I do.
For me, though, as much as I really like that movie, that's a great movie. It was a lot of fun to watch on the big screen, but it was also a lot of fun to watch it in a crowd, as small as our crowd was. But I've never seen it in a large crowd, in like more than one other person crowd before. Mm-hmm. So that was a whole new experience. We cracked some jokes about how probably people in that school think that Calvin Klein went there for a couple days, so we're really confused when he went into underwear.
We had this whole thing where we got like 2/3 through the film, and then like collectively we all kind of went, hold up, why wouldn't the dad look at the wife and go, doesn't our son look a lot like Calvin Klein?
Maybe the memory's just that bad. You know, how many decades has it been? I don't know.
Honestly, one of my favorite bits of us watching it was when Sparks' fiance, after one of the scenes with Lorraine and Marty, she would just go, damn, she's a thirsty bitch.
Oh yeah, we would all the time, because there's a moment where she's talking to Marty, and she's already like, I can't go much further than that description, but you know,
she's ready.
Yeah, she's ready. I'm like,
I think
damn.
one of the best things Megan said was when Lorraine when she tracked down Marty at Doc's house after they did the model run of the time machine. And she comes in, she's holding her purse. Megan goes, oh, she has devices in that purse.
God.
That was me.
Oh, that was you? Oh, never mind.
That was me.
Never mind.
But Ben's right. Like, you appreciate so many other things also when you watch something like this on the big screen. Like, I always love Christopher Lloyd's performance as Doc Brown, but he's so good in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so good.
One of the things I definitely noticed watching it on the big screen that I probably never figured out when I was watching it at home was Doc Brown's old age makeup.
Yeah.
All the actors' old age makeup, for the most part, holds up pretty well, even on the big screen.
I mean, well, what I mean is I never saw the difference between Doc 1955 and Doc 1985. So when in part 2, when he comes back and he tells Marty that he made himself look younger and he takes like the mask off, it's like, I don't get it. You look the same.
I was always confused by that joke too.
Yeah. Now,
Megan definitely had a moment where she's like staring at his neck in the 80s, and she's like, "Why does his neck look so weird?" I'm like, "Babe, that's the old age makeup right there."
Yeah, I had a great time. I'm really glad we got to do that.
Oh yeah, me too.
For the audience, if you ever get a chance to rent out a private theater or just to go see an older movie in theaters, do it. It kind of changes the experience.
It's not going to probably last for much longer once the pandemic ends.
Yeah. I also started Castlevania this week.
Nice.
Only 2 episodes in, but already I've noticed some improvements in the animation and the voice directing. I hope they continue throughout the season. But there were some really great animation sequences in the first episode specifically that I really enjoyed.
For sure.
I love Sypha.
Oh, when she was swearing all the whole time?
Yeah, she's swearing the whole time. Yeah.
So good.
I also started Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 3. And this season really solidified something for me, which is that if Fallen Kingdom didn't exist and this was the sequel to Jurassic World, man, what a better world that is.
What a better, yeah.
This show is exactly where I probably would have liked to have seen in a second movie. to Jurassic World, like a follow-up to Jurassic World, I think should have always been the story and not whatever they did in Fallen Kingdom.
You didn't like the clone girl stuff that they did?
Ultimately, I actually do appreciate the Clone Girl stuff. That's like the only thing in that terrible movie that I'm like, I'm into that.
I'm definitely with Brandon. I do I do like the idea of the clone girl thing. I think that does open a better avenue of like what the technology means in their context of their world than like, what if dinosaurs but soldiers? Like, I like that. It's like the obvious answer is you can make people.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But like, like what does that really mean? How much are the dinosaurs from what you've genetically altered, and how much is any clone what they are from what you've genetically altered? It's far more fascinating.
Let's see if they do anything with that in the next movie.
I don't know if they will, but it's definitely like one of my more favorite elements of what they decided to do in Fallen Kingdom than the Indoraptor.
As the show goes on, I'm continuing to be impressed with Camp Cretaceous. I'm not saying it's like an excellent show on the level of like How to Train Your Dragon. That's not the show. I don't know why I said that. Troll Hunters. That's a great show. But it is a solid follow-up to Jurassic Park. It feels very in tune with the Jurassic Park franchise, and it feels like it would have been a good follow-up to Jurassic World as well. I really enjoy it. I think it's a solid show. Some characters I'm crazy about, and they just introduced a new hybrid dinosaur, so we'll see.
Ooh, more of that. Nice.
The Scorpius Rex.
Definitely not interested.
No.
It took them 3 seasons to get there, though, so nice restraint.
Oh, no. Is it a raptor with like a scorpion tail?
No,
don't tell me.
It looks like the Indoraptor.
Oh, that's even lamer then.
Yeah.
All right.
Nope, not gonna say it.
No, look, that's like, if they pull it off, they pull it off. But right now, it's the only thing that the show has done where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I wanted to see this.
If you're gonna start making up dinosaurs, like do the kind of thing where like people have taken like, how we interpret, like if we interpreted animals by their bones the way that we interpret dinosaurs, and like things wouldn't actually look like the way they look at all, like a sea lion wouldn't look that way if we went at it the way we've gone at dinosaurs. And I'm like, so do that thing where you get really weird with it. And it's like, okay, like what if we're way off about what dinosaurs look like, and then like extrapolate and take it further.
Dragons.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they did with the hippopotamus.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's all I want to say about that. I really enjoy the show. It's a good time, and I like it. I like it a lot as an installment in the Jurassic Park franchise. A lot more than both of the Jurassic World movies.
Okay, I need to say this because it's bugging me. One of the things when you said Scorpius Rex, my brain went into a mismatch of Megatron and Scorponok from Beast Wars.
I thought of Scorponok. Yeah.
Those two together, you got like a T-Rex with like scorpion claws and just shit.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
I definitely like basically pictured a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a scorpion tail.
Yeah, that too.
I mean,
Rex. I expect something with a scorpion.
Yeah.
It's not Scorpion Rex. It's Scorpius.
I know.
Yeah, but Scorponok's a scorpion. That's how that naming convention works.
Isn't that a Greek name? Scorpius?
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's Malfoy's kid in the end of the Harry Potter books.
That's true. Scorpius Malfoy.
Jeez. All right.
All right.
Fred. Nope. Not going there.
I gotta read. I'd have to read Cursed Child again, and I don't want to.
I don't want to read it. I'm 90% sure, but I don't want to double check. Let's move on.
You should. If you had the chance, the show's cool. I will say that.
The stage play is awesome, but I just read the script, and there's some parts where I'm like, what the heck am I trying to see here?
Yeah.
I caught up on X-Men this week.
You are the only one.
Yeah, I read the. I was a month behind on the main title, and then I was a month and a week because I had a month's worth of comics as well as the first 3 issues of the Hellfire Gala, which is our background today for you audio listeners. Because I like this design a whole lot. I'm getting the variants for this book, which is the first time I've done it for the X-Men.
Nice.
And I'm excited because I'm going to put them all together and it can make one long green carpet. I'm so stoked.
Oh, that's cool.
I also have those ordered.
Yes.
I don't.
It's The X-Men books, no hyperbole. We talked about it before. They're great. They're really great. A lot of fun. I really loved the last issue of X-Men. But I do want to talk briefly about the Hellfire Gala as an event. I think it's really inventive, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I loved the first issue, which was the Marauders issue. I thought that was one of the best issues of the X line so far.
Nice.
Awesome. Looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to really like it. But that's it. I shouldn't talk about more unless I spoil it.
I just can't wait to get to the part where you tweeted at Denson and tell him to go F himself.
Oh, I did say F huge slot. Because there's a scene between Xavier and Franklin.
So I didn't look at the page because I'm not there yet, but I'm like, something's going on here. I'm going to read that later. And then I'm like, I agree with you, Brandon.
It's no spoilers. The page isn't a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
So you could read it without.
To me, every page is a spoiler.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan on that one.
Shall we?
It's basically. I'm not spoiling it, but it's the X-Men writers giving to Franklin like a here's your participant medal. Like it's a sad little like, oh my god, no.
Franklin, I miss you.
Yeah, and his bullshit thing where he's like, I don't want to write Franklin, then give him to the X office, dumbass.
Yeah.
Shall we get into our bread and butter?
Yes.
Yum 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 yum.
Seamless. All right. Oops, lost it. Here it is. Hi. Okay. So we got some sad news to get started with. Real quickly, Patrick McGreal, who is a longtime writer for Disney and Vertigo, passed away at the age of 68.
Oh wow.
This week. No cause given.
Oh,
I definitely read some of his DuckTales comics when I was small.
woohoo!
Me too.
Nice.
He was with Disney for a long time writing DuckTales. He's the one who created the family tree, I believe.
Yes, that sounds right.
I'll take your word on it.
You guys should check out that family tree. It's awesome. You ever want to know why Huey, Dewey, Louie, and I almost said Daffy, Donald call Scrooge uncle? There's a reason, and it's wild.
It's like a BuzzFeed article over here.
Yeah, right. But that's it. We can move on to some comic book news.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. This week we got some new information on some Marvel comics, such as who is taking over Venom. Coming in November.
God. We got a flip flop happening.
We do, and this is when I realized what was going on. But Donny Cates leaving Venom at issue 200. We had assumed that. What was I saying? I'm sorry, I got distracted by the comment section.
Don't check the comments when you're talking. That's okay.
We had assumed it was Philip Kennedy Johnson taking over Venom because he's doing that Extreme Carnage event.
Oh yes, I'm glad that's not it. I'm sure he's fine, but I didn't want that guy.
Now we know who's taking over. It's Al Ewing from Sword.
Yes, I'm not dropping Venom.
Yeah, and the Immortal Hulk. Ram V making his Marvel debut. With art by Brian Hitch. So Al Ewing and Ram V will be co-writing it.
That's killer.
Brian Hitch is a really, really talented guy. He isn't the first person that I'd want to put on a big Venom book, but it also depends on what style the book is. This is awesome, and it's not.
I also don't think he's on it for long. He doesn't tend to stay on anything that long.
He's like a big DC guy too, or he does both. He's been a guy who's been around forever. This is like the two best writers in comics on the same character at the same time. This is almost like too much. Like this is like, I thought, because when it said Ram V's coming to Marvel, I thought he was taking over this or the other book we're going to talk about. I didn't expect this and Al Ewing to be on Venom, which means this is probably like a big epic, like a big cosmic epic.
This is going to be a hot ticket item.
It's going to be a hot ticket item. And I'm like, it's crazy that Venom's always been popular, but like because of Donny Cates,
Venom, now that you said it, Venom is definitely leaving the planet.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely going cosmic.
Al Ewing's doing the space stuff, so he's
going to tie it in. Oh my god, he's going to do the Guardian stuff and actually like make it good.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
The thing that we were always wondering is who would take over Donny Cates, because the thing is about Venom really hasn't had a definitive run as far as Eddie Brock is concerned until Donny Cates came up and did this thing. So like it's always a question when you do something definitive, who takes that over? And Al Ewing and Ram V are the extreme best example of who takes over your status quo shaking event to do it again and in a respectful way that honors history. And it's excellent.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, it's just like I haven't been reading Venom, and not for lack of quality. There's a lot of books, and like I know that book's gonna be fine without me. It's crazy that I'm gonna like get another Venom book, and like they care about this character so much. They're like, we're gonna put like arguably like the best writer that like we have right now on this book. That's crazy.
Could be Venom. Think about this. What if Venom becomes the next Daredevil? The thing is, Daredevil has never had a bad run, right?
But Venom's had a lot of mediocre runs.
I know, but what if this is the start of Venom having the same track record as Daredevil, where it's constantly team after team after team that's doing some great work?
I agree. Let's get through more than just one with Donny Cates, though.
I know. I'm just saying. I know that Daredevil has a good history.
Daredevil has literally 30 years of impeccable runs. It's
constantly just having good runs.
It's almost insane, that and Swamp Thing, with like very small like levels of bad issues here and there, but like there are some characters that just like magic gravitates towards them.
Yeah,
like it's just like it's really Daredevil's really crazy. You can jump in anytime, any year.
Kevin Smith's.
Even Kevin Smith's, yeah, that one's good. Yeah.
Hey, didn't he write for Marvel Knights Daredevil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Marvel Knights, man, I missed that.
Remember when Donny Cates did it like 2 years ago and nobody read it?
Oh, I have it. I was gonna make it a book club and then I completely forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have it too.
Speaking of Donny Cates, though, Al Ewing is obviously leaving the Immortal Hulk, so someone's got to take over the Hulk title, and that is Donny Cates.
And Ryan Otley.
Ryan Otley is joining him on art, who is the artist for Invincible and the currently artist for Amazing Spider-Man. Patrick Gleason is now, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, also November. So they're switching. Donny Cates and Al Ewing are switching books.
And 2 big hot number ones. That's awesome. This one is interesting because how do you follow what is arguably the greatest Hulk run of all time? Like really, like, and it's obvious, it's definitely going in a different direction, which you have to do, because like I just don't know how you do this again. You have to do something different.
I mean, he's done it with Thor. How do you follow Jason Aaron on Thor?
Yes. The thing is though, this is the only time the Hulk's ever been like this, and I do wish this would continue. And somebody like a Ram V or Al Ewing, I think, not that Donny Cates is a bad writer. He's not the type of writer that they are. They are very different types of writers. Yeah. And I prefer what's happening with Hulk now. I don't want him to just go being smashy again. And that's what it is. And that's fine. But like now I don't care about the Hulk anymore. Like honestly. I'll give it a number 1 issue. I will try the number 1. But like if it's just really good art that's Hulk being mad, then it's like I don't need that. But like I will give it a number 1 because I like Donny Cates a lot. But like the solicit didn't make me super excited.
I will say that of the 2 announcements, the Venom one was the more exciting one, because I do think Al Ewing and Ram V are better writers than Donny Cates. However, I adore Donny Cates' writing.
Yeah.
So him going on Hulk makes me excited that I could keep reading Hulk, because I do think it will be different, but I also think it will be really good.
I also think that the solicit isn't giving us the full picture because they're avoiding telling us how Ewing's run's ending.
Yeah,
that's true.
That was how I interpreted it. Like I was like, I feel like I'm missing the hook.
I will say though, because like if we're just going from Jason Aaron's runs to Donny Cates' run, like it's like that's just number 1 you can jump into. You don't have to read Aaron's run at all. So I don't think that's super valid because again, it's a brand new launching on point that's doing a new direction. It's like, oh, you don't have to read the previous stuff to read this one.
I think what I mean by that is more like where the Hulk might be left as a character, like emotionally. Not necessarily that you'd have to know the stuff before, but I think we are not being let in on knowing what that is.
Yeah, okay.
Because Ewing, I think, based on everything that he does and the Immortal Hulk run so far, will have an emotional conclusion and turn. Yeah. And I think that will be something that is going to be affecting the character, but we can't know exactly what that emotional state of being, regardless of like you could jump in on that number 1 and you will be cued in like this is an emotional state of being. Yeah. But I don't think we get to know what that is.
That's fair,
because we don't have that
Hulk is just one of those characters that like when he's a supporting character he's cool, but like I've read a lot of Hulk. I've read almost all the modern Hulk runs, and half of them I don't care about.
Right.
That's just me because I want to give the character a chance, and I'm just like I don't care about the Hulk when he's just smashing things. You can really like you have to do something different for me to care about the Hulk, and I'm just worried that like this will be like as cool as Invincible violence, but like I don't
think it's unfair to compare Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk to like a true well done prestige series. And I understand that like there's an amount where you can get wary because this could be like, how much are we dipping out of that prestige level? Like I just think that as much as like Jason Aaron's run on Thor was really great. I don't think it was on the spectrum of what Immortal Hulk is doing.
It's not. It's just a consistent.
I don't think a lot of comics are. In general, that usually come out about characters in Marvel and DC are in our actual runs. I don't think that they usually reach this level. So this is a particularly challenging act to follow, no matter what. I don't think anybody will be able to live up to it in any way. I think it will be a challenge for anyone. But I'm glad that it's at least someone who I'm like, I hope they can bring something. I am hopeful. Like I know it sounds negative. But I do sit there and wonder if it wouldn't be better to just
leave it
alone.
Give it a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've thought that more than once.
I think that's just what it is. Because like it's going to be such like it'll go from issue 50 to issue 1 like in like a week maybe, and I'll be like, oh boy.
No, this will be a couple months because it's out in November.
Okay, cool. Okay, then that's cool. Okay.
Immortal Hulk will be on hiatus until this goes.
Ben, you gonna do anything with these?
Yeah, Ben, do you have anything about these? Do you have any thoughts about these two?
I was waiting until Sparks and Ryan were done because only 2 Hulk books did I ever really give a damn about, and that's Hulk Gray and Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
Every other time I heard that the Hulk was, if it was team up, cool. But other than that, like Ryan said, I also kind of don't care about the Hulk. I mean, he's a good character, don't get me wrong, but just he gets angry and smash stuff. Whereas reading the Immortal Hulk books, which is making me go out and try and find the Immortal Hulk trades, I care because this is compelling. This is a great story. Donny Cates, when I didn't hear the news about Al Ewing taking over Venom. I heard the news about Donny Cates taking over Hulk, and my first thought was, oh shit, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not caught up on Venom at all. I only have like the first 2 trades, but I liked that, and I know a lot of good things are going on with King in Black. So
it's over now, but it was good.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh, this is good. I thought Donny Cates, Ryan Hulk, hell yeah, he's got to bring some cool shit to it. But now hearing Al Ewing is doing Venom, I'm actually more interested in what Al Ewing is doing with Venom because I'm also reading Sword, and I actually really dug Sword. I'm really not digging. I'm picking it up constantly, and I'm like, I'm liking Sword, so I might go closer to Venom when
this is still. I've been like, I know it's been sounding negative. This is still a huge win for both these comics. This is still a huge win. Ryan Ottley is an insanely good artist.
I always these are both writers that I pick up anything they do.
Yeah, I do too, and unfortunately, lately, just Donny Cates hasn't been hitting as hard. Thor is still the one that hits, but like I just don't find his events nearly as eventful as I'd like.
One of the things.
I was going to ask, have we kind of like, because we totally were hyped up on Donny Cates a few years ago.
We still am.
We still are, but I feel like the hype train has like slowed down a little bit because I remember every time we talked about Donny Cates, we'd be like, Cult of Cates.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel that way personally. Okay. I have continued to read everything he does and love it also.
I just don't think everyone hits at 100 all the time. Yeah.
True.
And I can't really weigh in because I'm behind.
Yeah, you haven't read it. Yeah.
So I have nothing I can contribute to the conversation as far as I'm concerned. I'm 2 years back on what Cates has written, and I think everything's gold. So you can't ask me.
Yeah, I'm like 5 years back, so I'm
You're definitely not. We didn't read Guy Country yet.
One of the things I want to say though is that, as Ryan said, this is a win for both these books. These are both books. These are both creators that I still pick up everything they do. I love it all, so I'm totally in. One of the things though that I appreciate is that even though Immortal Hulk is an incredibly revolutionary, game-changing comic book, I am glad that they put on the guy who always shoots high, even if he doesn't hit. I always appreciate the attempt to do something really like crazy and bombast and whatnot. And I'm glad that they gave Hulk that opportunity to continue into a different direction, but also equally like bold.
I wouldn't call it equally bold yet. I don't think we know enough. And
I think it's got the potential is what I'm trying to say. It's got the potential to be.
Sure.
No, after you guys, I remember way back when you guys, Brandon and pretty much all three of you said, "Yo, Ben, you should totally pick up Immortal Hulk. It's a really good book." Then I was talking to some of my other comic book stores, to my Casey Casual friends, and they're like, "Hey, what comic books would you recommend?" First thing out of my mouth, Immortal Hulk.
I remember we almost made it a fake nerd book club, and we're like, no,
That was my I didn't know.
We'll do it. We'll do it eventually.
Yeah.
But not then. That episode's out. We changed that to Little Char and the Gang.
We did.
Inferno,
which was still a good read.
We finally have more information on what Inferno is going to be. Out in September, it's going to be a 4-issue miniseries. This is Jonathan Hickman's next X-Men thing. He'll be joined by Valerio Schiti, RB Silva, and Stefano Caselli, and one more artist.
So those are all just the best of the best. Oh,
that
man.
we don't know yet. Yeah. This is kind of spoilers, but the events of the last issue of X-Men are paving the ways for this.
Got it. Okay, I thought you were gonna read them. I'm like,
no, I'm not gonna read the spoilers. I was thinking about it, but no, the events of that last issue are directly responsible for what's happening in this series.
Gotcha. And for issue 20, X-Men 21's not out, right? X-Men 20's out.
No, 20 just came out.
20, yeah, that's the one.
I read that one. That's the Mystique cover. That's the one issue that I read next to Marauders. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very good issue. Recollecting on it, hot, spicy stuff happens. Yeah. Mystique's, it's stuff that's been carrying on. Like she wants to burn things to the ground. It's stuff from that happened in X-Men issue 6. It's still
we're apparently this will be kind of like moving the pieces through some of these setups from the beginning of Hoxpox.
Yes, yeah, they call it. This is like a sequel, like the Hoxpox.
Yeah, like a sequel to Hoxpox.
I gotta get through the Hellfire Gala first, but I'm already excited because it's Hickman's writing more X-Men. I can't get mad at it.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll get back onto an ongoing soon though.
Oh man, I can't even speculate.
Yeah. Maybe he's the one who's doing the Moira McTaggart book, and they were like, they're like, we're waiting for the writer to be available, and we're waiting for him to finish Inferno.
Yeah, if I had to say anything, it would probably be the Moira book is one of the last things that gets announced because that's like the pivotal character for all of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they said it was coming, and we'll see if it does.
Yeah.
All right. We got some casting news, and I'm pulling this up because I totally forgot.
Oh shit, I forgot.
Just forgot.
Creed 3 is looking to cast Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft Country and the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania to play the rival boxer for the movie.
Hey, I'm happy for anything with more Jonathan Majors in it.
Me too. I really like the Creed movies, and this is Michael B. Jordan directing this one.
That's awesome. I've only seen the first Creed. Much like Paddington, I'm sure the second one's good, but I've only seen the first, but Creed is an excellent, excellent movie.
Unlike Paddington, I've seen neither,
oh, man.
but I believe you.
That is the one movie where I wanted Sylvester Stallone to win an Oscar because I think he brings it in that movie like he's never brought it before. He's so good.
I have not seen the Creed films. I think the only movie I saw was the Rocky movie, or the only Rocky movie I've ever saw was one with Mr. T in it.
The best.
I think
4, right?
That's Rocky 4.
3?
That's the one with the robot. Wow.
No, 4 is the one with the robot.
4 has the robot.
4 has the robot.
Because he's doing a new cut of that it takes out the robot.
You're wrong, Sly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Jonathan Majors is a really good actor. I'm happy to see this. I don't think Creed 2 is as good as Creed 1 because it doesn't have the same director. Mm-hmm. But I still like that franchise, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. The lack of Coogler definitely hurts it, but it's still people seem to like the second one still. So.
Yeah. Oh,
I thought it was 3. Thank you, Mag.
Good. Thank you, Mag.
Then what's he redoing?
I think maybe it's 3 that he's redoing.
Must be 3. Okay. Whatever. John Wick 4 has cast Donnie Yen.
Ooh.
Oh my God, Hitman himself.
As an old friend to John Wick, they have a shared history and some common enemies. So he's a friend, not a villain.
Oh, I was hoping. With the way you phrased it, I was hoping he's a friend, but who also might be an enemy, so they get to fight, just so that we can get to fight each other.
I really hope he gets to have a good presence.
Nag, you're the MVP.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there you go.
4 is the robot, so 3 must have Mr. T.
What a wild roller coaster.
Wait, what's your
I really hope that Donnie Yen gets to actually have a presence because I like the John Wick films.
Mhm.
I do get a little tired of like actors who could do stuff like largely just being there for like a set piece of an action scene or something, and then we move on.
Oh, I don't mind that.
Well, that's what Avengers did with Scorpion.
I mean, actors who are capable of doing more,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
which Donnie Yen I feel is one.
Yeah, I agree. I would like. I hope that Donnie Yen. I hope that Donnie Yen gets the same treatment, or better, same or better, that Common got in 2.
I was thinking of Common when I was thinking of it. Yeah, I'm like, I hope that's more the presence that we get.
Yeah. Okay.
Something
Yeah.
a little higher than Common.
I liked Common in that section.
I
Yeah,
did
he's-
too.
he's good.
I did too. Yeah.
Oh, John Wick. John Wick is so cool, you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like Donnie Yen so much, and after watching the It Man movies for the first time during the quarantine,
God.
yeah, I'm so into this.
Punches a dude's face like 90 times in 5 seconds.
Is John Wick 3 on one of the streaming services that we know of?
HBO Max?
I have
I
no
don't-
idea.
I don't know.
Because if it's not, I'm gonna have to borrow one of your Blu-rays because I still haven't seen John Wick 3.
Hey, some would say it's a pretty good action movie.
Also, potentially Movies Anywhere. I'll check.
Okay.
The Toxic Avenger.
Oh my God. Tell me more.
Elijah Wood has been cast as the villain opposite of Peter Dinklage in the Toxic Avenger remake.
This is awesome. I didn't know this.
That's pretty good.
Elijah Wood is like he's super into like the nerdy indie stuff. So like it's really cool that he's like, is he like producing this movie? Is his company producing this? Do we know anything?
I don't know, but he does produce horror movies for Shudder and
Yeah,
things like that.
Yeah. I think we talked about it before that his company might be doing this. Anyway, like he's a great choice. Like he was a villain. He was a great villain in Sin City. Like really,
Yeah, he was.
really spooky. This is really cool. Toxic Avenger is such a weird franchise, guys. Like, and it's like the original Troma movie is like super kind of offensive. So I'm really, really curious what they're gonna do with that movie.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage is the lead.
Yeah.
It's
That's
going to be fun.
Good for
I hope
him.
so.
I have faith. Elijah Wood getting on board gives me even more faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Elijah Wood. I don't see him as an actor too often anymore.
Yeah, he's more behind the scenes.
Also, if he does like independent stuff, I miss it.
Wilfred.
say-
Everyone should watch Wilfred.
I'll say this one first and get to that one last. Matrix 4 has cast Christina Ricci.
Really happy for her.
Me too.
Really?
Wait.
I like her.
Wednesday Addams.
Oh, gotcha.
There you go.
Casper.
Casper.
Monster by
Funny-
Patty
okay,
Jenkins.
so
Yeah.
funny enough, I would have recognized her quicker from Casper because I watched Casper more as a kid, and I only
Right.
watched the Addams Family until last year.
It is the first thing that comes to mind when I hear Christina Ricci because I watch Casper so much, but she's definitely done a lot of work since then. That's really cool. I'm happy for her. I'm glad she's getting something like this.
Me too.
I look forward to seeing her in it. I wonder, because it came in my mind, I wonder if she'll be related to Trinity.
I was literally
Because
going to
they
say
look pretty similar.
she is the child of Keanu and Trinity. The one. or
Wow,
whatever.
that'd be wild.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
But nope.
Yeah. You guys remember Casper and Wendy with Hilary Duff?
I
Yes.
remember seeing promos for it.
Yeah.
I don't remember watching
Anyway,
it.
Casper's one of those franchises just like, sorry, Ryan, not today.
yeah, there's 2 sequels that I know of. I'm sure
There's
more.
a prequel and a.
Oh,
they're both
yes, the
prequels.
Is that how they
They're
kill
both
Casper?
prequels.
They're both prequels?
Is that how
They are both
Oh my
prequels.
God.
Casper Meets Wendy also takes place before Casper.
But
Wow.
after the one about Casper after he died.
After Casper Spirited Beginning. Yes.
Spirited Beginning.
Oh my God, the lore.
Spirited Beginning is really, really not good.
Is it as good as Spirited Away?
Oh,
No.
I will say, movies aside, the old Casper cartoons, from what I remember, are actually pretty cool. They're pretty neat.
I always loved in those cartoons the intro has the car running over Richie Rich instead of him falling out of an airplane.
Murder.
I was really happy that we got that origin for him being Casper.
I don't remember that, but okay.
Ben,
Yeah.
you know I'm making that up, right?
I did,
Ben.
but I'm with you. No, the Casper cartoons are super solid, especially for their time period. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Welcome to the Casper cast.
Yeah.
I'm sure it exists. It's got to.
That would be a short cast. And you would not have that much material to go through. You could do it in a year.
You do a minute by minute episode podcast, cast for minute by minute.
Oh man,
Detailed
that's a
analysis.
mistake. Like the original, sure, but then after that,
I admire
I
anybody
say
who
that
does
the person who on some sick level enjoys at least Casper Meets Wendy. I don't know if I enjoy Spirited Beginning anymore. I did at a time.
Yeah.
That time might have passed.
55 theatrical cartoons between the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, but those are the older cartoons, so they're all like, less than 3 minutes.
I'm saying the podcast per one. I'm just saying you could stretch it out if you
could stretch it out. You could.
I don't care about Casper, but I'm going to start this podcast
I don't think
now.
you should.
I'll join you.
It's just
Cool. Let's leave that there.
Anyway, Christina Ricci in Matrix 4 is really exciting.
Yeah.
The Wachowski sisters are back.
Just one of them.
Just one of them. Solo Wachowski. Didn't know that. Half the party, double the fun. That's cool. The Matrix 4 is still happening. That's really crazy to me. And like they got everyone back. I'm like,
it's
wow.
It's a little weird. We're hearing this casting announcement right now.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a reshoot situation or just.
Remember how both John Wick 4 and Matrix 4 were supposed to come out a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
I wonder if it's like a voice thing where maybe she's a voice of a character. Because that's kind of thing she doesn't have to do right now.
Because I hadn't thought about the fact that Matrix 4 should already be done.
It is, I think, because it's supposed to be up by now.
At least filming wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just hid her casting.
Reshoots?
I mean, they could have, but then why do we hear it now?
That's coming out this year.
Reshoots?
Shit, it is. Yeah.
They have to CGI her in because someone made a boo-boo on set.
Oh my god, somebody got canceled and they're
I don't know.
That's funny.
Let's move on.
All right, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. That's cast Issa Rae, comedian, as Spider-Woman.
This is awesome.
Ooh.
This is what we call a win.
I have only seen her in that movie where her boss goes from the girl from Scary Movie to a little girl.
I've seen the trailer for that movie.
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, right. Okay,
Yep.
sure. Yes. Got
I
it.
have no clue what you're talking about.
I just know she's really funny, and like this, like the Spider-Verse tone, like works perfectly, and I'm like, this is adding more diversity, making like, wait, does it? She's Spider-Woman? Yeah, that's right.
She's Spider-Woman.
So like, like Jessica Drew is now a black woman.
Doing it.
I'm like, that's great.
Well,
Sweet.
that's not necessarily what that means.
That's not.
No, because
I guess
Zoe
not.
Kravitz
True.
voiced
That's
Mary
true.
Jane. So,
You're right, but you should do it anyway. Why not?
I mean, they can. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think they probably will.
Yeah. I just didn't think about that. You're right.
Also, alternate universe Spider-Woman. Like we don't know what version of Spider-Woman this will be.
That's true. It could be any. That's true.
Yeah. But that's cool. I'm really excited for Spider-Verse. I love that first movie. Make just as good.
Anytime we talk about casting, that just means like, yo, man, this movie's actually really happening. And like, I know it's like sometimes like not really news, but it just means like it's actually happening.
There was definitely a moment of time, like that time seems silly now, but where we were concerned for the future of Spider-Verse because that movie wasn't making the money it should have.
Yeah. But here we go.
That was a wild time.
It did begin to make the traction it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Just quick anecdote on my way home from the gym this morning with my roommate, he played a Sunflower, and on the little thing it said Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, so he got it from that album. So I'm like, man,
that song was made for the movie. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
amazing.
man, I need to watch that movie again. That movie's just so goddamn good.
Y'all ever watch that Post Malone virtual Pokemon concert that's 25 minutes long?
No.
See you later. Bye.
Go watch it on YouTube. I dare you.
That's so long.
Question.
What's weird is that they didn't just let Post Malone film live action and put him in the virtual bubble going through around the Pokemon world that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they create a digital recreation of Post Malone, put him in a bubble, and send him around the Pokemon world.
It's cheaper that way, obviously.
It's
All right.
Does he sing the theme song?
No.
What a waste.
That's
Screw
But
him.
he does sing Sunflower.
Okay.
Okay. Miscellaneous news. Dark Horse Comics has launched a video game division.
Sick.
Just called Dark Horse Games.
Dark Horse. What? I know this is a dumb question because I read comics, but I don't read a lot of Dark Horse. What properties do they have?
Well, Hellboy, Umbrella Academy,
Oh shit.
Black Hammer.
Oh, is this off DC?
No.
No, sorry. I'm just thinking because they have crossovers. This is cool though. Okay.
Oh yes, Mag is talking about the movie Lovebirds with Kumail Nanjiani. I did not see that.
I didn't see that either. I might watch it now though. Hellboy's cool. He's actually had like a couple video games, and one of them was real bad. The one that I played. So like, I'll take another Hellboy. That's cool.
Yeah, this was Dark Horse going. They're going to develop first-party games with developers, and then third-party they'll like branch out. So it's really cool.
That means they're gonna license out all the properties, which is just awesome.
I was actually gonna because when you said Dark Horse Games, for some reason my brain went, wait, are they making comic books about video games? Because they have done that before. I mean, hell, that my Super Mario Bros. Encyclopedia is printed by Dark Horse.
We're getting an Umbrella Academy video game.
Oh man. Oh, I'm a dummy. There's like literally every comic ever made. There's so many comic books.
Oh, a Beast of Burden? They own Beast of Burden?
Dude, imagine like a Telltale Beast of Burden game.
Yeah.
That I could see them doing a Telltale style Beast of Burden game. That actually sounds pretty rad.
Yeah. But good for them. Excited for your future endeavors. Good luck.
I love video games and I love comics.
Dark Horse, please keep publishing those video game encyclopedias. They're really awesome. I was looking through the Mario one earlier today. It's awesome, and also hurry up with the Sonic one because I really want it.
You got it, Ben.
Please and thank you.
Ben, you have just confirmed that they will never do that.
Canceled.
They hate us so much. Why would you do that, Ben? Dark Horse specifically hates us.
What's the opposite of a pre-order?
A bad order. No.
There you go.
An anti-order.
Funny enough, that encyclopedia is coming out. It's coming to stores around the time of my birthday, so I probably will pre-order it. Hilarious.
All right.
Then I'm going to make sure that nobody could get me the thing that should obviously be my gift, so I'll end up with 8 of them.
All right. God of War, Ragnarok. To nobody's surprise, is not coming out this year.
Thank God.
A little bit to yours, right? A little bit to yours?
Thank God.
Okay. Yeah. You pushed back a little bit on us when we said, this gets delayed, and you were like, they wouldn't announce it if it wasn't at least a little far along. This could happen.
I was probably speculating, or I'm an idiot.
Man, because if this game were coming out this year, then this is a Miles Morales style game. There's no way they can make a huge game the size of God of War, making it a sequel.
So here's the sad thing that comes with this.
It's also PS4.
We know this is not going to be a true PS5 game.
No.
And that sucks.
But it's really nice for the 100 million PS4s, and I get business-wise why they did it. But I just know, just like Horizon, it's going to be similar to God of War instead of a true next-gen game like Ratchet and Clank is.
It does suck for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good for those people.
Yes.
However, I'd rather wait to 2023 and have a true PS5 God of War game than the in-betweener that I kind of feel like this is going to be, especially with them having way too early announced it. We all called that they did. There's no way, unless this game is much less than what the last one was.
Yeah.
And just in general, my vibe right now is I'm not thrilled that God of War definitely feels like a game that's being pushed on crunch. Because I'm super anti-crunch, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I am split on the. Sorry. I'm split on the available on PS4 or PS5 thing, because obviously I don't know if I'm going to get a PS5 by 2022 is when this is pushed to. Yeah. But also, I would have rather had the dedicated PS5 game, that next gen God of War game.
The pandemic really, really messed a lot of things up.
Well, because here's the thing: if it was a truly dedicated PS5 game, it probably wouldn't come out in 2022. Which is why I'm like, I'd really rather wait. I'd really rather you were just making the true PS5 game and wait and have that game be blow my mind.
Yeah.
Than kind of be like, what's up here? Because there are so many mechanical things they can do with the PS5 controller specifically that I want them to do with God of War, and it's frustrating that they have the technology at their grasp, but they're going to have to hold themselves back and hamper it down so that PS4 can still play it.
It's like a thing where when you have to make a game for the PS4, which again is it's not a nothing console, but it is a 8-year-old console at this point.
Yeah.
So you have to cater to an 8-year-old console, meaning you limit. It's not about graphics. Graphics can look great. God of War is still a great looking game, even for PS5 standards. But the processing power and the amount of stuff you can do on screen is limited when you have an 8-year-old. The stuff in Ratchet and Clank with the multiverse stuff, you cannot do that really in God of War because it's not a PS5 game. Truly.
I think what's weird is just this doesn't usually happen. We don't usually get the next gen, and then they're like, okay, well, let's still cater to the last audience on some of the games that we're developing on the system that runs really well now. Let's hold ourselves back, I guess, on our big main titles so that they can still play. This is the problem with Halo, and the reason why this is a problem is because these games are being pushed further out because the pandemic slowed them down. And yes, I understand that people don't have access to these consoles right now, but that's not really a problem because these games are made for those consoles. They're not coming soon.
Yeah.
But they're going to come at a point where like some things are going to come out that are made specifically for those systems like Ratchet and Clank. And we're going to go, why are these things lesser? And they shouldn't be. They should be plugging up. It is going to be a big problem when Halo drops, and it's still supposed to run on the previous Xbox, and it's not blowing people away.
Yeah.
These are the titles that should be. They are the big money titles. You should be taking the time to make them blow the barn doors off, and they're not.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem.
And the game is still going to be great. Like, I'm not worried about the game being quality.
Right.
It's just like it is a thing when you have the new consoles out. Like, how much do you cater to them and how much do you cater to the older audience? I think the pandemic really messed a lot of things up in terms of development.
I agree.
And like they have to like recoup costs, and like we have to put it out on the PS4 or else like it's just not going to be viable. Like it's an unfortunate situation of the world. And I get it. Like I'm still excited for the game.
Ben, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I'm going to throw it out there. I think God of War is going to get delayed one more time.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I think this is a 2023 game.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's coming out in like I'm assuming like Christmas 2022.
Barely eked out in 2022.
Like a year and a half.
So with this game, I'm not scared of a Cyberpunk 2077 situation. I'm not. It's single player. It's not this big.
Everybody. Well, no, Cyberpunk is a single player game.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a massive RPG made by the guys who made The Witcher.
I know. Wrong wording.
No, it's cool.
Never mind. Forget my Cyberpunk analogy. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that they're going to delay this at least one more time, if not two more times. I would expect another delay, and if they do it twice, you know what? I'm okay with waiting.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with waiting. I would rather wait and get a true masterpiece of a game like I did with God of War 2018 than have them rush something out because they need me some stupid deadline.
I agree.
Yeah, as we always say, video game delays are not terrible.
Yeah, right. But I agree entirely with Ben that I am very confident this is a game that either barely ekes it out in 2022 or probably gets delayed into 2023. And when you hit the point where you are delayed to 2023, I do think that the audience starts to sit there and wonder, why is this game still for PS4?
Yeah.
3 years out from the console's release, and we're still catering to PS4 with big knockout titles? That's not great.
Jeff Miller in the comments mentions Marvel's Avengers. That is a game that should have just came out on the PS5, but for business reasons and like stock market, all that nonsense, the game had to get released because it took way too long because of the pandemic already, right? When the game came out, that game was broken as hell. And now that it has the PS5, like it runs smooth, it runs great. It still has some problems because it's a live service game. But it should have just launched on the PS5, but because of business people, like it gets in the way of art, and it always will be that way.
Right.
Yeah. And also, thank you, Jeff. Love you, buddy. Miss you.
Boom.
My name is Jeff.
So I'm still super stoked for that game. Can't wait.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when they announced it, we knew it was coming because after the end of the first God of War or 2018's God of War, we knew a sequel was coming, and I'm totally fine with waiting. I honest to God am. Unfortunately, because after this news dropped, some fans, of course, decided to take to Twitter, and I really, really freaking hate it.
Oh man, it's okay. You can. It's okay.
Be nice to developers, for God's sakes. They're doing their best.
Hey, don't be a dick. It's the mantra. Like, don't be a dick.
Did people take to Twitter and complain about this?
Oh my God, they said death threats.
I did. I missed this.
You're lucky. People the director of the game went to Twitter and straight up says, like, because there was this one streamer who got a job with Santa Monica Studios, and they kept on attacking her. It's like, oh, you're too busy streaming. This is why I got delayed. The director straight up came out and said, this was my decision. Stop attacking my people for it.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that you could be a person who regularly enjoys video games and thought that God of War would actually come out in that year. They shouldn't be getting the any of that kind of response. That's bullshit. They shouldn't be getting that. Take as long as you need with the game. They also shouldn't have announced it for 2021. That was a bad idea from the get-go, and I think everybody knew it.
Yeah.
And
once we didn't see a trailer last year.
We didn't even
I
get
mean, that's what told us is that we saw no footage.
There wasn't an
like,
E3 last year.
There's no way that if they're not showing us footage, there's no way that this game comes out in 2021.
All it was just dialogue. It was just dialogue, the thing that's in the rooms that spell out Ragnarok. That was it.
I have a feeling that, and we should move off the subject because we talked about it last time. But E3 is happening in like a week and a half. I don't think God of War is going to be at E3 because they announced it now. Hey, we're working on it. It's going to take a long time. We don't want to hype you up even more with footage. So I don't think it's going to even be at E3 this year.
Well,
and
Sony's not at
Sony's. It won't be at Sony's thing. Or
we've talked about this before in relation to games where like I would rather have the and I think we've kind of hit this point with movies too. We've recently been discussing like the pandemic has changed some things where like you're seeing trailers only about a month before the movie comes out rather than 6 or 7 months in advance.
I love it.
And I want the same for games. I don't need to be anticipating it for 2 years and then have it delayed, especially in games where things are so consistently delayed. Like, actually give me the trailer like maybe 4 months into the lead up of the game's release.
I complain about movie trailers having like, there's like a teaser and then like 2 or 3 trailers. When a game is released, like announced 3 years early, you get literally like a dozen trailers over those years. And like, it's just like, it's the same stuff, just looks better. I'm like,
Beyond Good and Evil 2?
That game's never coming out.
Oh my God.
Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy came, when that was announced as Final Fantasy 15, there was
Final Fantasy Versus? Yeah.
Can we not?
No, because Final Fantasy Versus.
No. Yeah. It was Final Fantasy 13.
That's how crazy that stream can be.
Yeah.
We need to get away from that.
We do. We totally do.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. I don't want to fall into another tangent.
A lot of. If you guys like that, check out Basement Arcade pause menu.
Hell yeah.
Warner Brothers' new name has been given to Warner Media's new name has been announced. Discovery announced that their new joint name will be Warner Bros. Discovery.
Okay.
Okay. Keeping the Warner Bros. Name, that's nice.
Well, it's interesting. Honestly, it's interesting to me because I like stupid shit like this. But it went from Time Warner to Warner Media to now Warner Bros. Discovery in the span of 3 years. Poor guys. They don't even know what they are anymore.
I think maybe now they do. Hopefully now they do.
Hope so.
But we'll find out next year, I guess.
Yeah. I hope Warner Bros. Will have a good home at Discovery. More permanent one.
This is like if Disney in 20th century went, we are now 20th century Disney.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what
they actually won out.
It's bad name. Like, just be Warner Brothers and under Discovery.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
Cruella is getting a sequel.
Hey, that movie came out last week, right?
Yeah, they announced this week that Cruella is going to get a sequel. Director Craig Gillespie, who Ryan told us that directed the Fright Night remake.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good director. Good director.
And Tonya is also great. And Cruella is great. Let's start our review. Co-screenwriter Tony McNamara are all expected to return. Obviously, Emma Stone as Cruella.
Man, I think the internet, at least Twitter, Twitter's response to this movie has been so funny because, I know half the people haven't seen it. They won't give it a chance, and I 100% understand it. It's another Disney, one of those things like a cash cow. It's a character that we have, blah blah blah. But I think it's a really good movie, and it's actually like a really entertaining piece of
surprising.
It's surprising, yes. And I've been trying to preach the word as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's people just they won't even give it a chance. And
it's the Disney Birds of Prey.
It's that's good. Yeah.
That's a good.
But people have been shitting on us extra hard because the sequel got announced a week after, and what are they just gonna have her kill more dogs? And she doesn't kill dogs in the movie, you guys. And that's the thing. I don't want to defend this movie on Twitter because I feel like a crazy person.
I think that I'm interested in where the sequel could go. Obviously, we talked about how it would be interesting to see her do the next step that leads her to where she's at in 101 Dalmatians. Could the sequel be that, or could it just be a different, unique retelling of 101 Dalmatians?
Yeah.
That
I hope
fits in the Cruella universe.
I hope it's the Maleficent 2 route in the sense that it does its own thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
After talking,
I hope
agree.
that.
Yeah.
But I will see it. You got me. So.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the first one. I'm probably gonna see.
Well, Ben, we're gonna review it, so you're definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna review it. It's just I don't know why I mean, I get it. It's a popular franchise or it's a popular film, so they want to milk that cash cow for as long as they can. But I kind of miss really good one and done Disney films. Like I thought Cruella would have been a great one and done, but hopefully they can do really good stuff with the sequel. If it's the same director, I have faith. Emma Stone obviously is coming back, so I'm looking forward to it.
That was an interesting ride we just took there with Ben's thought process.
I would definitely rather have a sequel to this than pretty much any other Disney live action film that's out there right now. Because this is a character I'm willing to revisit, a world I'm willing to go back to. I'm cool with it. I'm definitely more on board than I am with pretty much anything else.
Lion King 2.
No, that's not.
Lion King prequel. Right? Isn't it a prequel?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't care.
Yeah.
All
right. I might care. We'll see.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
A Quiet Place is getting a spin-off this time. A spin-off has been announced for March 31st, 2023, which will expand on the settings of the first two films. This one, however, is written by Jeff Nichols, who is writing it from an idea from John Krasinski. John Krasinski will produce.
That's awesome. Jeff Nichols is like a good sci-fi guy.
This is really exciting. I had a terrible thought because I really want this. I want something that expands the world. I want something that like goes somewhere else. It's what I've been wanting ever since the first one, is to just go somewhere else in the world with this exact same idea, this premise, this setup. I love it. Take me somewhere new. It would horrify me if this is just the story of Emmett. Or part 2, and I'd be like, please no, please go somewhere else.
Wow, such a small world, this whole universe. No, I my heart tells me that's not it, because I know
it was a sudden like this in this moment. I'm like, what if it's just the story of them? And I'm like, oh please no.
Yeah. We have a review of A Quiet Place Part 2 coming out soon, right? It's not out.
It'll be out soon.
We did that today. Like I don't even remember how time works.
We recorded that today.
So like we'll talk more about that stuff in there, but like I think the spinoff is very much like a Walking Dead thing. Like we want to get away from those characters, except those characters cross over into Walking Dead. So that's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
I hear you.
Yeah. I hope that I like the idea of doing something new in this universe.
It's rich with possibility to go somewhere else. So I hope they do.
Yeah.
Yes. Why the Last Man, the TV series on the FX, has finally gotten a release date.
That is crazy.
That's soon. It's soon.
September 13th.
Why the Last Man has been on its way to television since before this podcast started.
Yeah, it's crazy. That thing is filmed and just ready for us. That's crazy to think. And we still haven't got a trailer.
And they canceled the original pilot and filmed a new pilot.
Yeah. Hey man, like they did that with Game of Thrones. Like that first Game of Thrones pilot's apparently really terrible. And I'm like, that's crazy because the new pilot we got is really good. So I'm like, that's really cool that they wanted to put faith into the show because I think it's good. Man, that is a wild show or a wild comic about being the last man on Earth after a crazy pandemic happens and only women are left alive. That's gonna be a fun show to talk about with people online, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. All right. But that's exciting. It's finally coming. I'm happy we're finally almost at the finish line.
Yeah.
Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, we all watched an episode of that.
On Netflix has been canceled after only one season.
Color me shocked.
Yeah.
I am a little shocked, I'll be honest.
Oh. I am shocked about the discussions that are happening around it for sure.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I just watched that first episode. We talked about it with you guys. It just went back to my brain. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to look at that.
$200 million.
Yeah, that's a lot for a TV show.
That does not look like a $200 million show.
No.
Oh, shit.
That beard should look a lot better.
That's crazy.
For $200 million. Yeah, I am not surprised in the sense of like learning how how much it cost. But I am surprised because it's Miller World, and like that's the whole point of getting Miller World is getting these properties on the screen.
But isn't like I don't know if it's like more like isn't there like
it is more news? Yeah,
there's like a spin-off thing happening.
There's more to this.
Okay.
So Mark Millar, I guess the article, I don't know if he said it, but the article definitely says it. This was creative differences. They couldn't agree on where the show would go after season 1.
So
I think it's because the show's better than the comic, and he doesn't like that.
Well, it's him and Netflix.
That comic's starting pretty low. So what I read was along the lines of like there was creative differences that they could not agree on and negotiate before the had to renew the actors' contracts. So Netflix was like, we're not renewing the actors' contracts. So it ended over creative differences. So we're not doing another season of show because of that. Mark Millar is confident that at some point down the road they can get the cast back. Not necessarily probably for another season of Jupiter's Legacy, but for
Jupiter Circle,
the spinoff or something related to it. He seems to have that confidence right now. The spinoff, Brandon.
Yeah, so Super Crooks, which is another Mark Millar book that I didn't know was part of the Jupiter's Legacy franchise.
I also didn't know that.
Yeah, is announced at Netflix. There is already an anime that's coming out soon that was created for this property, but now a live action spinoff of Jupiter's Legacy TV show will also be developed in lieu of a season 2 for Jupiter's Legacy.
Weird.
Yep.
Man, like Super Cooks. I think I read that. Actually, I don't remember. I honestly don't care about half of this. Like, man, like
Yeah.
I wanted to give the show a chance. Man, they really they push the show so hard. There was like a Netflix like behind the scenes of the epic first battle in that show. I'm like, you mean the hill battle with that dumb dude? Like, give me a break.
Because they bought Millar World and they're like, we're gonna make this a big thing, and it's like,
and again,
should you have
all the good ones got like they're like all the good ones. Excuse
except
me,
for
the
Huck.
Yeah, that's like the one that I want. Like the other
Netflix
ones
should have just bought Huck.
Yeah. Because like good movies exist for the other ones that would be done, unless they want to redo Wanted.
But Jupiter's Legacy was the first out of the gate. That's the first one. That's the first thing that Miller World produced, and already gone.
Bye. But you get a spinoff.
It would probably cost a lot of money, but Reborn would probably be a pretty good TV show.
I bet Reborn's a movie.
I think that's super big. That might want to be a movie. I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Or like an HBO if they really want to throw money behind it.
Yeah, but of course.
Anyway, so this is wild to me at any rate.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Good for Mark Millar. He finally got one out of the gate.
It's weird that he has this like confidence that I think we'll get the cast back later. And I'm like, man, I think you're on a sinking ship, my friend.
Yeah.
And I think Netflix knows it and you don't.
Yeah.
Super Crooks. Isn't that the one where they go to London because there are no superheroes in Britain?
That I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there's a lot of like crime books that I read at a period, and I'm like, oh, is this the one? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, trailers.
Oh, sweet.
Trailer time.
This is Sparks only.
Yeah.
Owl House.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to talk about that. The trailer for Owl House season 2 dropped this week, and I'm really pumped. And it looks great. And they're leaning even more into like what amount of spooky stuff Disney is allowed to do.
It's real spooky. Yeah.
It's got statues bleeding from the eyes. I love it.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, is this a kid show?
Oh yeah. Gravity Falls did that. Did a similar thing once before. So I was like, I know Disney will allow it under certain circumstances. I'm just glad to see it. But all the visuals look great. I'm pumped. I think this is going to be a great season. There's like clearly some anime inspiration coming into this one. So.
I did watch the trailer because I live with him.
Right.
And I don't, without the context, like it's definitely like a great looking show. Like it definitely sells you on like, oh, I'd watch this. Gotta watch that first season.
Yeah.
All right. Demonic.
Is this the Blomkamp one?
The Blomkamp one.
Blomkamp one.
Yeah, man. This as soon as that name popped on screen,
we were both sitting there like, what is this? And that's like Neil Blomkamp, and we're like, oh, what?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
So this is about a virtual reality thing, but like it's actually like tapping into like an alternate like a hell plane or something. Think of something like Doom, but instead of like a portal, it's like a VR machine.
Yeah,
in hell.
It's like it's the Warrens in 2050. Like I'm not sure, but it's like demonic possession like through a VR thing or something.
I don't know. Neil Blomkamp doing it though made me really interested because I'm
they got my curiosity and then they had my attention.
Okay.
All right.
Can someone remind me what Neil Blomkamp did? Because when
District 9.
What?
District 9.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then some other movies that aren't as good.
Elysium and Chappie.
Yeah. No, because Ryan? What's that one movie of the guy who made all those video game movies that you saw in theaters and hated and went through a really edgy phase?
Uwe Boll.
That guy. Yeah. Because when his name popped up, I'm like, okay, I know his name from somewhere, but is this the same guy that Ryan would talk about, or is this a different guy?
No.
That's really insulting that you thought that he was Uwe Boll.
It's okay. I get where Ben's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
important.
I would have been mildly intrigued by this premise, but I'm definitely a little more convinced that it could be really weird and interesting because it's Blomkamp.
Yeah.
So this is very different from his other films in appearance.
That District 9 sequel was confirmed, right?
Yeah, he's writing it.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, he's writing it with Shelta Copley.
Groovy.
Oh, that's cool.
Neil Blomkamp's also done a whole lot of interesting like little web short stuff.
He did stuff for Halo 3.
Halo 3, and he's got his like
he's got a web thing.
He ran a whole web series of short stuff.
That's what got him like District 9.
That's really interesting. No, this was after. This was in more recent years. This is the stuff he's done after Chappie.
Nice.
Which is really interesting, weird, unique work. That I'm not saying it's all great, but it is worth looking at.
Maybe that's what inspired him to do this movie.
Nice.
All right, Gaia.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is my jam.
I really like the visuals in Annihilation where people and plants start to blend into things. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, man. Like I love Swamp Thing, but I just love vines growing. Big fan of vines growing and plants growing really fast. And there's a lot of that. Like
I'm a big fan of people having mushrooms pop out of their back.
Big fan of that.
Remember that comic we read, book club, where we had the mushrooms growing out of people?
Yes, that was the Vita Ayala.
That was the
one.
Vita Ayala.
The Wilds.
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of.
The image we see of the like creature effect thing is very similar to Last of Us.
Like we mentioned Last of Us like things, but like 90% that's what a clicker from Last of Us looks like. Like the mushroom head.
Because Last of Us is like zombies, but
fungal,
but made by fungi.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's essentially what you got.
This looks like
I love it.
Lots of good horror stuff this week.
Whole time I'm watching this trailer, I'm thinking, this is Ryan's dream. This is my nightmare.
Yeah.
Infinite had a new trailer.
This was a much better trailer.
Much better trailer.
In a movie where Mark Wahlberg wasn't playing the main guy, I'd be really, really interested, but I'm only kind of interested.
Yeah, that's the big problem.
Watching this trailer, the reason why I put this trailer on here, because initially I wasn't going to, but I watched this trailer and I said to myself, if it was anyone else but Mark Wahlberg, I'd be really into this.
Yes. I won't say anyone else, but most people.
Yeah.
So I'm a recent Dylan O'Brien convert. I really like that kid.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's twirling a sword in a suit, and I'm like, shit, that's pretty cool.
I love
so
Dylan
like,
O'Brien. Yeah.
if the surrounding cast is good enough and the action does look good, this is such a better trailer than that first movie or that first trailer. Excuse me. I just think it looks like a fun action movie.
So the name of the guy with the beard who was in
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
No.
Let Ben say what he's saying. Ben, what are you saying?
Who the guy with the beard? What's his name? The guy with the beard.
Oh no, that's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
No, it's not.
Which guy? Which guy with the beard? Who are you talking about?
The one who's also the voice in Close Enough. The one who's the voice of Rex
Jason Mantzoukas.
That guy. Yes.
There we go. See, there are 3 dudes with a beard in this trailer. Ben, you got to be more specific.
He's the only
one.
one.
Showed up.
No, the reason why I'm mentioning him is because he's getting a lot of work recently, and I'm happy for him.
I told Ryan. Because he's also in another trailer we're going to talk about later, which is animation. I said he's getting all of T.J. Miller's roles now that everyone hates T.J. Miller.
Yeah, like the jerky friend with the raspy voice. But he's so much better. He's so much better than him.
So right. Oh my God, he is.
Yeah, 100%. He's filling that T.J. Miller hole, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, when I saw he was in this trailer, I'm like, oh man, we got Dylan O'Brien, we got the Zook. Like, I'll watch this on Paramount Plus for free.
I just truly wish, like, I don't necessarily need it to not be Mark Wahlberg. I just want him to have a personality, and he clearly doesn't.
Definitely.
So I'd want someone who would. Otherwise, it looks interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It looks cool, like a cool action.
Good action pieces. I'm surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this trailer a lot more.
Yeah,
you compared it to Jumper.
Oh yeah. Just because like there's like an organization that's against the superhero people and like they have like certain weapons that stop them.
I'm kind of with you on that comparison. I get you.
Yeah,
man, I liked that movie.
It's fine. Yeah.
Reminiscence, Hugh Jackman's new movie.
I rarely feel this way, but this is one of those times where I kind of hope that the narration we're hearing in the trailer is actually in the film, because this feels like classic crime noir, but modernized. And I love that as an idea. And if this film nails that, I'm 100% here for it.
Yeah. The premise is so wild. It's like a murder mystery, but set in the future, and they're using like another VR thing. They're using like nostalgia VR to trace where the woman ended up to die, to solve the crime.
And also, everyone's addicted to living past in the past.
Yes, everybody is nostalgia's bitch.
Everybody, yeah.
Yes, this is the movie where everyone's nostalgia's bitch, not just me. No, this movie, I don't know why, but when I was watching this, I'm like, this is like a really more not more dystopian, but a crime noir version of like Total Recall. Am I?
Yes.
Sure.
The memory thing. I also got Total Recall from the memory.
You're not far off.
It's a good call.
And I really hope it captures that. I really hope it captures, because the trailer did.
Mm-hmm.
It captured that like old crime noir. I'm going to dictate you through the story of me solving this mystery, learning these things. It's poetic. It's dark. Yeah. I hope that's what this movie is, because if it is, I really, really like it.
So I know this film takes place in the future, and I love what the future looks like, how like the water's road, but humans are still living on it. But I still get this 1930s vibe in the future, even though there's this gorgeous woman in a red dress singing in the 1930s/40s in a noir type setting. And even the future is like, damn, the future still looks noir, and this looks noir. And part of me kind of hopes that if this does very well and it comes out on Blu-ray DVD, kind of hoping that it may have a black and white version, a really well done black and white version like Logan did. Because part of me feels that as much as there was some good color, and this is like, there's some good color, don't get me wrong, but I really feel like maybe this movie would have been amazing, or will be in black and white.
Something.
Yeah. It's not a bad point. It's definitely plucking the strings of that era as inspiration. I just hope it's actually serenading me with it.
Yeah.
This movie, honestly, no, sorry.
It just looks like it looks like it's doing a lot, and I hope it pulls it off. Because this looks like it's a really like high concept thing, and I'm like, I hope. I like the cast. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got Westworld. Help me.
Oh no.
Co-creator of Westworld did this too.
Yeah.
That was
God. I don't know.
Yep, my brain's gone.
Person from Westworld.
I especially don't remember because she recently.
Tandy Newton.
But she fixed her name.
So her name, forgive me. Let's look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yes. So there's an actress who recently changed her name because
we talked about it at one point on the podcast.
But she's in Westworld. She was in the Chronicles of Riddick. She's great.
When the trailer first started, I thought we were getting an Inception sequel.
He literally said this looks like Inception.
But I'm into this.
Her name is Fandaway Newton.
There
you
go. I'm really into this one.
Yeah, a lot of good trailers this week, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then America, the motion picture.
Weird, but I'm kind of here for it.
I am. The execution, I hope it's not like, it doesn't look like to be like offensive. It looks like progressive offensive in a way, if that makes sense. I really like Channing Tatum playing George Washington.
Me too.
And the guys who made these things and also Magic Mike. I'm like, this could be something like the South Park guys could make. I am.
Paul Bunyan fights the clock tower.
He fights Big
pretty
Ben.
good. That was pretty good.
For some reason, this was just scratching an itch I did not know I had.
Gross.
I don't know. Shut up. I don't know why, but when I saw this trailer and you hear Channing Tatum was like, "This is welcome to America, mother," I was like, I'm in. I don't know why. And just watching the rest of it, I think it's John Henry when he cracks the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
And I'm just this whole trailer is it's absurd. It's skewing history. It's foul mouth. I don't know why, but watching this trailer, I was like, my God, I cannot wait to watch this. This looks so dumb and silly.
You
know what it does? It feels like a spiritual successor of Team America World Police in a very weird way.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember that show that had them going back through time to fix things? There's this little boy with this rope. I'm gonna look this up.
Okay.
It's important to me. There's an animated show we all watched. Hold on.
I'm not necessarily agreeing with Team America, but I am interested in why this? Yeah. Why this right now? I'm very curious to see because yes, it can just be for fun, but there's definitely going to be a little bit more behind it.
I think it's going to be
and I'm interested to see what was the onus to make this. But you 100% have me laughing at hello, Gov, hello, Gov, hello, Gov.
Yeah.
Oh, just everybody, all the British people only saying that.
I feel like
Time Squad.
definitely don't think I watched it.
I
But I
watched
believe it. It feels like this is gonna be a thing where like it's gonna like show how like tough America is and it's like make
I am
I'm a liar. I do recognize it,
Yep.
but I don't think
I did not watch it.
Mark Hamill's the voice of the robot.
I just remember that chin.
I remember visuals of that show, but I did not watch it.
Wow.
I-
Okay.
I would watch that show before I would watch Kids Next Door, and I remember enjoying it.
There you
Me
go.
too. It reminds me of that. That's what I was trying to
Gotcha.
tell you.
Okay.
Cool.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Is this a movie or a show?
It's a
Movie coming on
American
Netflix.
the Motion Picture.
Gotcha. Well, it could be a joke. I don't know. Yeah,
American the Motion Picture, and it's a television show.
I don't think that even funnier. I'll give it a shot. Sure.
Oh, Mag's with us. He remembers it as well.
There you go.
Yeah, Time Squad, I think.
All right. That it? Anything else?
Nope.
Nope. That's it.
All right, let's do this. Time to talk about Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. The third in the Conjuring trilogy. The seventh overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you have to say 8th now.
Fine.
This is the director of Curse of La Llorona.
That's true.
I think you have to allow it to exist in the canon, regardless of if that you don't like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay, but full spoilers for The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. We have talked about all of the Conjuring films in an episode before.
Yeah, that was fun.
It
I
was.
really enjoyed it.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Really enjoyed that, you assholes.
You loved it.
I didn't have nightmares for 3 weeks straight.
We're
No.
back again.
Stop pretending you don't love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben, you can't complain about horror movies after you were like, I'd really like to go see Midsommar with you guys in theaters. Like, you have to just let that go.
That was a you suggestion.
That was a new suggestion. I'm doing a bit, damn it.
No, I know. Speaking of bits,
Full
Ben,
spoilers.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
spoilers.
Did this movie give you nightmares? How did you feel about The Conjuring? The Devil Made You Do It.
Well, the devil's definitely not making me say this. I thought it was fine. I don't know if it was because I have seen a lot of, or I don't know if it's because I'm somewhat used to Conjuring movies now, and I remember how I love Conjuring 2. I think that was a really good one. Annabelle Creation is terrifying as hell. This one was to me very paint by numbers, very that's like the twist. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know if I was paying attention more, I probably would have guessed the twist at the end. But I just felt like, to me, the scariest thing that happened in this movie was when my roommate came up and spooked me. Because I was watching this with my headphones on, and because him and his buddy were watching Invincible in the other room, and then they went downstairs to cook. He comes up, he goes, "Rah!" I'm like, Jesus.
Yes, I love that.
And then he turned me one time. He turned into a snake because he knows I like snakes. So he goes, "It's me! Stab me!"
He's like, "Oh, it's me! Stab me!" We are 8 at the time. And also, I want to acknowledge Mag for a very hot second because he said he loved The Witch. I saw that movie too on Halloween. That was also a really good movie.
No, he loved the witch in this movie.
Oh, damn it!
Also, that's the Vavitch. So
Yeah, I mean, he could have meant either. I also was confused about.
I assume he means he loves the witch in this movie.
yeah.
Her name is officially the Occultist.
The Occultist.
Because she's in the comic that's out right now.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Sparks, initial thoughts?
You haven't seen, listeners, at this moment, my Quiet Place Part 2 review, but it's a little similar to the things I'm about to say, which is, I think with a lesser cast of people in this movie, I would think this isn't very good.
Oh, boy.
I'm mostly here for the relationship that Patrick Wilson and Farmiga bring to the table. And even then, the characters I find lacking in this one in comparison to Conjuring and Conjuring 2. And I'll pretense all this was saying, like, I think, and it is on them, but like, I think I am judging this film more harshly against Conjuring and Conjuring 2 because those are of a quality that I anticipate from at least the main title films,
yes,
even if the exterior parts of the Conjuring universe might fall short of it. And this fell shorter of that quality level for me, which makes me feel like it's not bad. It's all right, but it's not Conjuring 2 level to me, which makes me a little sad. And that's my general overall.
Ryan.
I echo literally everything he had to say, as well as Ben. And also the review that you guys haven't seen yet. With a less talented cast, this movie would be a big old bore. But man, like I really like the main cast. The side characters are fine. There's horror movie cast. I love the occultist, and I'm really bummed that she dies, because I think that opens up a new avenue for this universe that they just do not explore enough of. And like that might like break the universe in a way, but I don't really care. But like everything else about the movie to me was kind of boring. So everything involving her, I thought was super cool. But that's kind of the case. Like I like a lot of the villains in these movies, despite the movie themselves.
Sure.
It's fine. Yeah.
Brent, Brandon, you say things because I have a thing I want to talk about real quick.
Yeah, my initial thoughts. I'm a big fan of the Conjuring franchise. It's one of my favorites it's one of my favorite shared universes, whatever. Even the bad ones I find, except for Annabelle, I find something to enjoy in them, such as the Nun.
And La Llorona.
We have to.
I don't have to say it.
We will say it for you.
Well, I can't. I haven't seen La
Nun.
Llorona. You told me that I didn't have to see La Llorona.
You don't. Well, the Nun, which is, the Nun is I think it's just kind of a fun Hammer horror film in the Conjuring universe. Annabelle Comes Home, I think, is a lot of fun. So even like the quote unquote lesser Conjuring films that are not of the quality of the first two films, like I still have something to enjoy in them. In this one, I really didn't.
Yeah, and that's I 100% get it. Like that. Look at that Annabelle. Like the opening exorcism scene, I think it's executed well. But how many exorcism scenes do I have to see in movies now? Because like it doesn't really do anything new except just contort the boy a little more than normal.
Now having the whole
WandaVision, by the way.
Now having the whole movie scene and looking back, that Exorcist shot homage feels real like, oh, stop it, you.
And then they do the thing with The Shining too. Like,
The Shining,
there's a couple horror movie homages. I'm like, that's cute, I guess, but like this is
The Conjuring
again. Like The Conjuring has a quality level, and just like this felt like James Wan light. Like there are shots that are like replicating like one shot James Wan shots.
You feel his absence.
It's someone trying to be James Wan, and they're not.
So I caught the Exorcist one, but I didn't catch the Shining one.
So he has like a jacket on, and he has
when he's chasing her at the end, he's wearing the exact same style jacket that Jack Torrance is wearing.
Yep. I remember.
I kind of like that it was a different. I kind of like the different way it was filmed. I think the way that this guy uses a much more warmer color in contrast with the very, very blacks. I think that works.
Michael Chavez.
The director.
Yes, I believe that's it. I really like how he shoots things. I didn't have that problem with La Llorona. That's not the issue with La Llorona, is how it's shot. But it feels disconnected from the rest of the Conjuring franchise. And very much so, like Spark says, feels James Wan light because his presence is not there. Oh, Ryan. That sucks.
I really wish, I just want to get this one right out of the way. Michael Chavez, I haven't watched it, but I do know the reception for it, which is why I haven't watched it. The Curse of La Llorona. He was the director of that, and they gave him the keys to the main franchise. And I really wish it had been David F. Sandberg. I know he's busy, but he did Annabelle Creation, and I would rather that was the person who took over Conjuring 3.
I wonder if they asked him, honestly.
I have no idea. I like Annabelle Comes Home. I do think it's a fun time. It does feel like it's a little hampered by the fact that it feels like it's trying to create more shared universe. But that's my biggest criticism on that. I at least feel like the Warrens are still the characters from the first two.
Yeah.
I'm missing some of that in this.
Lorraine gets a downgrade in this movie, I think. I don't think she's as smart as she is.
Lorraine feels much dumber.
Yeah.
Or inexperienced, which she shouldn't, considering the timeline of events that have happened before this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the things that actually really kind of bothered me about this movie, I mean, I like The Witch too. I think The Occultist is really cool. But for some reason, as I'm watching this movie, I wanted to know Why? Why put the curse on Jessica? Why put the curse on the boy or on the Glasgow family, whatever they are? What their name is, I totally forgot. I get why Ed Warren. I get why she wanted to curse them. But for some reason, I'm just like, why curse this kid? What did they do to you?
When they explain the curse from John Noble, he says it needs 3 souls, and they are of a specific archetype. Ed Warren is picked because he's a man of God. There had to be the child and the lover.
Yeah.
Those are the 3. The girl, the lover, the child, but that transferred, and then the man of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were had to be for the curse to work, to summon Satan.
Okay. So
and the thing is, I like what this movie is doing. I kind of like the idea that they're going on detective work in this one. I think that's really cool. The idea that they're not exactly fighting a demon who wants to be there. They're fighting a demon who doesn't want to be there because of the occultist. I like the idea of an evil Lorraine, essentially. Like
I love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, but
Dark Reign.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's executed as well as it should be, especially for this franchise.
I agree 100%. I don't think that the visual setups of the scares do anything, aside from one single moment I can think of, do anything new or unique in the way that the Conjuring films tend to do. They all feel very either rote of other horror films or rote of the franchise itself, to be honest, where it feels like we are repeating moments from previous Conjuring films. Or even extended Conjuring films. The one sequence I will give credit to is the moment when Arnie falls backwards and the music changes and he is in that different reality. This is before he stabs Bruno at the beginning of the film. And it's the red light on the door and he's just in a whole other world and the music is slowing down.
Oh, and like it turns black?
Yes.
Yeah,
this is a good use of like the atmosphere, the way the music shifted for him, but we're seeing the 2 split realities.
That was good, yeah.
That was a good, unique moment to this film. But that's pretty much the only scare moment I can give that kind of credit to. And Lorraine seeing herself in front of her.
Oh, that was an awesome moment. There's like a stunt actress.
The double moment.
There was a double, and like it was like mirroring what she was doing, and that's just like a really creepy mood.
Yeah, it was interesting in the trailer. There's a sequence where like the doors, like there's this like tunnel thing, and we get that on the TV, seemingly setting up that moment, but that moment's not in the movie.
Yeah, that was weird too. I picked up on that also. I will say my other thing, I really like the Lorraine double moment. However, where it does violate Conjuring rule for me and bothers me is that it lacks meaning. While it happens, it seems to just happen because. It doesn't seem to mean anything. My assumption at first was that one of the Lorraines was seeing her vision. Okay. And so that's why she was seeing double, was because she was actually in the occultist's view. Or thought she was.
Okay.
Because that's what we've been seeing, is she was seeing her view up to that point. I'm like, that's why she's seeing herself.
But
it seems to just be for that one moment for no particular reason whatsoever, which is not very Conjuring like they usually do, get you to understand the meaning of why certain things are happening. I will say, like, that bridges into my other big criticism of this, is just this film is full of logic problems that really irritate me. 2 in particular I can think of right off the bat are that it bothers me. Like, this is just simple things, but these are things that Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2 never did. They thought through every moment so carefully. They really sell you and make you believe in what you're watching and connect to it. In this one, you have things like a cop who drives up past Arnie and doesn't apparently see the blood on him until he turns around, even though he came from facing him the other way, which makes no sense and is purely for the audience. My other one, that is my biggest one, is that Lorraine literally says we should take care of this in the day because Satanists are strongest at night, and then seems to spend an entire day waiting to drive to John Noble's house until it's nighttime because Ed gets there while it's still night. So clearly she could have gotten there in the day, but she doesn't. And I don't get why that happened.
She just took a nap and then like, oh, I gotta go, and it's 5 o'clock. It gets dark at 6. Yeah. She specifically said the line. Yeah,
that was a problem.
She said the line. Yeah.
That was a problem.
My another thing that I don't like about this movie, and this might seem controversial, but one of the things I really like about Annabelle Comes Home is its new monsters: the samurai, the ferryman, the bride. I really honestly, a lot of the times go to the Conjuring for different and unique monsters, like Annabelle, the Nun, all the ones I just mentioned. But I like those monsters. I think they're cool, and
I agree with you.
Valak rules.
That's always a lot of fun, is getting a new monster, and I don't think we did that in this one, and I feel kind of cheated that we didn't get. The closest thing was a wet fat guy.
The bloated one, yeah. I feel you. I understand that. Like for me, the occultist was a satisfying switch. But I understand if you want that demonic thing, it kind of wasn't there as much. I
will bridge the thing between the two of you and say, I love the occultist, but what Brandon is referring to, and I agree with, is the thing that's haunting Arnie should have been more unique than it is. It has no meaning to him, and that's what irritates me the most.
Yeah.
It's just a dude with long hair for some reason that means nothing, and I don't get it, and that sucks.
It's not the
Why
guy
is
he
it
killed?
nothing? No, it's not Bruno, because it's the guy that he's looking at who pops up on the bed.
Oh, that's right. He starts singing.
Because that's the thing that happens. Like, I don't. Why? Why is that the visual? You have so many creative things you've created in this universe. We could do something unique and like have something that means something to Arnie. Or if it is supposed to be Bruno, good Lord, make that clear.
Yeah.
And make that actually a part of why Arnie is so frightened, and his interaction with it make me care about every time we're cutting to Arnie for that interaction. That's where the special monster that Brandon was looking for should have been. I agree, keep all the occultist stuff because that's great, but what Arnie is going through should have been a unique creature, and it's instead the blandest demon we've ever had in Conjuring.
You're right. No, you're right. Yeah.
Valak is
Awesome.
terrifying.
Another thing that if we're going to do a human antagonist this time around, the occultist, maybe we give her more of a personality. We don't need to for a monster like Valak or Annabelle or the Crooked Man. But if we're doing a human, let maybe give her a character.
I will agree. There is one line that's really dumb. That's like, what is the line about love? How like she thinks
Lorraine says that she thinks love is a weakness, and I'm like, oh, she does.
Oh, that's her character arc.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have known that beforehand.
Yeah, I 100% agree. She's characterless. But she like teleports and does like sick like knife stabs, and I'm like, what?
I will say I do feel like she had like credit to that actor. I think she had a personality. She just wasn't given enough time to show it, because I really love her first moment with Lorraine where she's like, "How are you doing this?"
Yeah, me too.
And then when she's taunting Ed in the house, I also think is really good. And I'm like, just a little more, of that.
Just give me more, guys. I want this. I'm here for this.
Yeah.
Great. Ben, you want to say something?
I did. Shit, I lost it.
It's okay.
I think it was when we were talking about how, because I do agree with Brandon, the demon or the monster wasn't meh. It was meh. It was like, cool. This is like Valak extra light. Like with the eyes and the teeth or something. I was like, this is like something I've definitely seen before. Whereas the cultist, I'm like, I want to know more about you.
I think that's even giving it a little too much credit. It's like the encounter we had in the original Conjuring, but even that toned down, which is sad. It doesn't even scratch Valak. The third act is so. It's
a slasher movie.
It's so boring.
Like it just Ed like
once it gets to Ed like chasing her, that goes on for a while, and I'm like, I mean, I know he's not going to kill her.
Yeah,
I mean, I know. Like, what am I supposed to be?
It goes on for far too long.
She gets to the altar, and the occultist isn't at the altar doing what she's supposed to be doing to Arnie because they have to smash it. What? Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I remember what I was gonna say. Power of love wins all. For some reason, this was the one time I was like, "That's lame."
It's a little lame.
I get that normally under any other circumstances, like, yeah, the power of love triumphs through all. But the second she's straight up, like Ryan, when you said it's like, wow, I didn't know the occultist hated love. I wish I knew that earlier. Because when Lorraine's like, she thinks love is our weakness. Like, she never once said anything about that. She just
John Noble's in this movie. He rules.
Yes.
I would have loved to, like, because you get the exploration of the occultist in like 30 seconds. Like, I adopted her and I raised her, and she learned about all my shit, and she went nuts. I'm like,
no, that
cool.
was her. That was his own daughter.
Yeah.
No, he adopted her.
He adopted her. Yeah. But like that's that. Oh, cool.
He
That's
did.
a nice.
He made that clear.
That's a nice little nugget. Cool. That satisfies me a little bit. But like that character is cool enough, and like if this is going to be your main antagonist, you got to give him more.
In a similar vein to what you're talking about, he says a line that really, like, I was like, please latch on to this idea. Please let this come around. If you were to do another Conjuring, this is what I want that movie to be about. Which is where he says we need to be careful what we expose our children to.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I had been saying up to that point, I'm like, where did their daughter go? She was in the opening scene of the movie, like one of the first scenes of the movie, and then she's gone.
She's in a
and instead they're just spending times with Debbie. And I'm like, okay, I guess, like, especially after Annabelle comes home, like, I'm like, oh my God, run with that. And I'm like, please show the daughter in the end of the movie. Like, please show Lorraine kind of thinking about that idea, that message, because that should be the takeaway from the encounter with the occultist. It should be, this happened, and that is a parallel situation.
100%.
So what is going to happen to our daughter?
Yeah.
That is one of the things that they are probably hesitant to, and I don't think they should be, because of the based on true events thing. You know, Judy has to go to college the same year that she goes to college, but maybe you diverge a bit. You already have.
Yes. So
Yes.
Ryan and I talked about this, and I said, look, I get that there's a true life part to this. I'm at the point where I say throw that out the window to make better movies.
Yes.
I say I don't care if it happened in real life. Have Valak the Revenge. Like, I don't give a crap. Go buck wild at this point. I want you to do stuff with these characters that is unique and weird and cool. If you expect me to keep coming back from the movies, you can no longer be restricted to reality.
Yeah.
Ryan
Yes.
made an excellent point about the end of this movie where Arnie being convicted doesn't work because the only reason they're doing it is to maintain the real life events, the true life events.
Yes.
5 people saw him floating in the air being shouted at by the priest, and those 5 people would be witnesses.
The glass
yo,
broke
man, yeah, definitely
everywhere.
demonic possession.
The
Like
whole glass.
100% demonic possession. We agree.
So one of the scenes I actually really did kind of enjoy was when they're meeting with the lawyer for the first time, and then
That was a good bit.
yeah, and then Ed Strapes talks about, like, hey, the court acknowledges the existence of God. Why can't they acknowledge the existence of the devil? And she's like, well, if you can't convince me how, it's like, hey, how about you come to our house and meet Annabelle?
Yeah.
Jump cut to her at the stand, and she is shook.
That's a good jump cut.
Terrified.
Excellent.
She is a terrified lawyer. She is wearing a cross.
Believer.
She is like, oh,
I'll be
she
perfectly
is
honest, Ben. I'll
Yeah.
be perfectly honest, Ben. I kind of wish we saw the dinner.
Yeah,
too.
I kind of do too.
Yeah, I would have liked
I
to have
do
seen
think-
that dinner.
I agree. I do think it works still.
I think the smash cut was good comedy. When you've had as many Annabelle movies and Conjuring movies as you had, where, like, if you know what happened to that lady.
So if you guys
smash cuts to her, she's like, I just did my own Annabelle Comes Home.
If you guys want to watch audience at home, because I think we talked about this movie for Halloween one day, or we just watched it. But there's a movie called The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, sure.
And that's directed by Scott Derrickson, the guy who did Doctor Strange. That's an excellent movie. I don't think it's based on a true story, but it's about a woman who is on trial.
It's loosely based on real events, but not specifics.
Gotcha. But it's a very similar thing where, like, she's on trial for being possessed. For something she did. And that's an awesome exploration of everything from the law and religion.
It's way more about the trial
Yeah.
than it is about, like, the demonic possession.
I'm just like, cause, like, this is kind of like the thing of the movie. And I'm like, if you want a really good version of that, it does exist, and it came out like 20 years ago.
It's kind of in the similar vein of Sparks wanting to see them kind of diverge from the real life story as much as I do too. I also want to see them do their version of the Amityville Horror. And I know that the only reason why they haven't is because of how many Amityville Horror movies there are. And that sucks because I would have liked to have seen a version of the Amityville Horror that has the Warrens in them.
You also have to, like, go backwards again now because they've moved on from it, because, that was the beginning of Conjuring 2.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think that it is weird that, like, we don't get that with these characters because that is the most famous case, which is why it was turned into so many films. Realistically, I don't want them to do it unless Juan himself will take it on, and I think he's already made it pretty clear he won't. So that kind of leaves me at, I guess, just don't do it then.
I think that's why they didn't call this Conjuring 3, because they knew like those first two movies have a quality level, and like the third one's not James Wan. Oh, it's a Conjuring colon movie. Gotta bring in the colon.
This is my least favorite of at least 3 Conjuring films.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I would barely put this above Annabelle, and then not much else within this universe.
Yeah, this is one of the weaker ones, unfortunately.
This is definitely a weaker one because when you ask me is like Conjuring movies, the first thing that comes to my head is Conjuring 2 and Annabelle Creation.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll also throw the Nun in there because I too also had a good time with the Nun.
And the original Conjuring. The original Conjuring also doesn't play into like horror shtick. It's very well thought out. It's creative. It's emotional. James Wan knew what he was doing, and he had a style, and he makes these actors sing as these characters. He makes you care about them. He really fleshes out. Like there's no something that the Conjuring 2 does so effortlessly is not only make me feel completely connected to the Warrens, but to the family that is being affected in both cases. And I don't have either in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't feel that engagement. The only amount that I feel engaged with the Warrens is me supplanting it onto them because of my history with them from other films.
Yeah.
It is not the movie giving that to me.
Yeah, I think if you're just like a casual like horror fan and you're putting this on, I don't think this script it's up to snuff.
There's just like there are bits in here that just reek of like overdone, like when Lorraine enters the dark woods the first time and it's just the hand on the tree, and I'm like, please come on,
it's like,
this is the Conjuring. We don't go to just
and then 2 girls running out from the woods laughing.
Be better.
Yeah, and they're a couple.
So they are.
I will say that Patrick Wilson, I think, does a really good job in this movie as always. I like Ed and Lorraine a lot.
They're working.
They always
unfortunately the script is working against them, but they're working.
I like what Patrick Wilson does post the heart attack. I like the kind of performance he puts on to kind of make him slower and make him kind of hobble a bit.
The moment where after all the stuff happens and he's like he might die because of his heart attack. He's like, I forgot my pills, honey, and then she opens up her locket and there's a pill in there. And I'm like, oh, that almost saves this movie. But not really.
They're in love.
It's really it's like they're bringing out the best of this movie.
And they're so good at these roles.
Yeah,
I have no problems with Patrick Wilson and Vera
Farmiga.
Thank you. I have no problems with them. I've always loved them in all the movies that they have been in, but this movie as a whole just doesn't really do it for me.
I will say the scripts for the first 2 Conjuring films have an excellent balance between Ed and Lorraine. This one feels very weighted towards Ed and punishes Lorraine's character by proxy. Like Lorraine does not feel like who she actually is in the previous films.
Her gifts and abilities against the occultists, like in a way more like she's so much like I feel like she owns her power so much more in the first 2 movies, and here she's like a damsel in distress almost.
I told Ryan this, and I'm like, it's a small thing, but like when she's trying to reach out to Ed at the end when he's being controlled, I'm like, why is she not touching him? That's like all about what her power is based around, is being able to like connect with things through touch. Why is she not touching him? That doesn't make any sense. Lorraine would touch him. Lorraine would reach out and try to connect with him in that moment.
Reach out and touch.
Like what?
Yeah. One of the things Valak in Conjuring 2, Lorraine uses her powers like to blast Valak back, and a really great sequence that she's banishing Valak from this plane of existence. In this one, they destroy the thing, and then she loses her soul.
That's what I mean, because again, the occultist, she's like teleporting, and she's like doing like teleport stabs on her dad. I'm like, she's like a shadow assassin? Where's this been?
Her murder of her dad was shocking.
That's shocking. And it's like, again, it's like her using like supernatural abilities. And I'm like, Lorraine, you could do stuff like this too, right?
You're right. It is, Brandon, the more I think about it, like it is so lazy. And I actually really like the sequence aside from what I'm about to say. It is so lazy that he gets that Ed gets that sequence where he's scared in the home that is really her almost making him kill Lorraine because she's cursing him.
Yeah.
And in that same moment, what we get is the corpse from the morgue again, rather than something else. And I'm like, this is so like lazy. This is so lazy.
Again, it's like
I was like, couldn't there have been like something else?
It could have been so many things.
Honestly, it could have just been the Crooked Man again.
I was gonna say, like, The Conjuring 2 even has characters like the Crooked Man appear. Like, it does different things while still keeping focus on one core idea. And this movie just isn't interested in doing that at all.
Yeah.
Nothing really fantastical or cool.
It's a situation where, like, you have to make another Conjuring movie. Like, you got to finish a trilogy or just make another one because they're so successful. And, like, if you can't get the guy who made it successful, just maybe don't do it. And I know that's Hollywood. Of course,
Annabelle Comes Home would not have been the worst way to leave the Warrens.
Yeah, 100%.
No,
and you know what? Much like a Fast and Furious, where like you bring back that guy, if you need to wait a couple years to make sure that James Wan's available, like he's a guy who created this franchise. Like I'm sure he would love to do it. Like if he had the time.
Yeah.
He's doing lots of other things too.
This is also something that frequently happens with James Wan's horror films, where eventually he kind of leaves and it gets left in the hands of other directors.
Yeah.
And sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't. And this is one of those times where it didn't go well. Insidious.
Oh my god, yeah, all of them.
You can feel his absence when he's established something so thoroughly. Insidious suffers from this too, from chapters 1 and 2 on to 3. 1 and 2 work in conjunction with each other. They are speaking the same language. They are telling you a story in a way that the third one just doesn't. And that very much has to do with Wan putting a lot of influence into it.
Yeah.
And I am sitting here torn, because I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, oh, please just leave the Warrens alone now. I don't want to watch this happen again with these characters because I like them, and this just hurt because it wasn't of the quality level. But at the same time, I'm like, this is not the note I want them to go out on.
The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, has made $33 million worldwide so far.
I kind of agree with you, Sparks. I would rather look. We got The Nun 2 and The Crooked Man coming. I'm good with those, but let's maybe leave the Warrens alone.
Yeah, because like you do not want the diminishing returns on like the good thing you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Like again, like man, those Conjuring movies, like 1 and 2, they're stellar things, and it's really, really a bummer that the third one is this. And again, it's not it's not completely terrible, but it's just when you drop the quality level, like you feel it so hard.
Yeah, I think if you can't get James Wan to come back for one more Conjuring film
finale,
for a finale, then you leave the Warrens alone unless you're going to have them make cameo appearances in these other Conjuring universe films, which I'm totally fine with. I think that's a pleasant surprise. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Like maybe even like Annabelle Comes Home, but maybe a little less. Mm-hmm. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But leave them alone unless James Wan's coming back, because Michael Chavez showed that you need him to.
And
make
he had
this
He had the same screenwriter from Conjuring 2.
That's wild. That's so weird, man.
But which like I don't know, man. This is a weaker script. I will say that.
Yeah.
Who knows how much like decided to get cut? That maybe would have fixed it.
Yeah.
Maybe the edit is the problem.
Maybe
the original script is more solid, more fleshed out. This is a shorter Conjuring film than the others.
Mm-hmm.
But even putting that aside, you come to the designs, and the designs of what we see don't fit the world of The Conjuring. They don't. Yeah. They don't take this. This is a step backward rather than a step forward.
We got a zombie. We got a zombie in a Conjuring movie.
Yeah.
I really want to see real quickly. We talked about the movies that were coming and how we don't want to see like the Warrens come back. Honestly, give me a feudal Japan movie with that samurai armor.
Yeah. It's amazing it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm so into this.
Yeah. When's the next one coming out? Do we know? Is there like another one this year?
I think the next one is The Nun 2, but I don't know when it's coming out.
Okay. Yeah, the first Nun's fine. I don't know. James Wan's really good.
I am more open to the external parts of the universe going exploratory, because I'm like, hey, you might get an Annabelle, but you also might get an Annabelle creation.
It's true.
And I'm like, yeah, go buck wild over there. But for the Warrens specifically, like have someone with a deft hand come back to them.
Yeah.
Or don't come back to them.
Yeah.
Lee Winnell.
Like honestly, I was gonna say like if like I understand why they got Michael Chavez. He's like an inside guy. He's worked with them before, but maybe
you got other guys in that
exactly
in that pool that would have been better.
Yeah.
He literally did the one that everybody hates the most.
The worst, like the quote unquote worst one.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's a bummer. He was available.
All right, shall we rate it?
Ratings time.
Yeah, might as well.
Ben, why don't you rate it first?
I would say 6.5.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
low.
little. It's above. So, yeah, it's low. It's lower. There were times where I was kind of bored. There were times where I was looking around trying to see where my cat, making sure where my cat was.
I'm shocked that Sparks said this is the shortest of the 3 Conjuring films. It definitely doesn't feel the shortest.
It does not. Like, I checked the runtime before I watched it. I saw, oh, okay, cool, it's under an hour. It's under 2 hours. But as I was watching, I was like, man, this is not. This feels like 2 1/4.
The original Conjuring and Conjuring 2 have both impressed me with the fact that they are like horror films are not generally long films. Conjuring 1 was actually about the same runtime, so I'll take that one back. I thought that one reached.
The second one is definitely like
the second one's definitely a higher runtime. That's a 2 hour 14-minute film,
but it works.
But you don't feel it. It feels fully fleshed out in every way.
You feel it on this one.
This doesn't use its runtime as well.
Yeah. No. It's kind of middle of the road. It's paint, like I said earlier, it's paint by numbers. It's like, I've been through this before. I know what's going to happen, and then like the only thing I didn't see coming was that the occultist was the daughter of the second priest that they see.
I don't think there's any way to like make that connection.
And Ben is saying that, and Ben watches the least amount of horror films of the 4 of us.
Yeah.
So that tells you something.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the main thing is that without these actors and without my history with these characters, this film would not work for me. I would find this rather bland and predictable, aside from like the cool idea of the occultist. And it is purely my relationship with these characters from previous films, and the fact that Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are still bringing it, even with a weaker script, that makes anything worthwhile for me here. John Noble's appearance is nice, but they just they missed every opportunity to deepen these characters, to add anything new to them. Again, like, it's just such a missed opportunity to have Lorraine make some kind of parallel connection of what's going on with the occultist to her daughter. Like, it's right in front of them, and they just don't even embrace that at all. There's so much of that throughout this film. For me, it's a 6.
I'm gonna go. I like the Conjuring universe, but I'm not like in love with it. It's not my favorite, but like I'll give this a 7. I think it's passable. I probably will never watch it ever again. But the occultists and the leads being as good as they are do elevate it. It's just a bummer because, like, man, like it's just like now the Conjuring franchise isn't like perfect anymore, and it's like, oh, that's the bummer.
Like the main course series.
Yeah, the main course isn't what it used to be.
Right?
I think if this was the first Conjuring movie, like the quality, not the story necessarily, but the quality, and then Conjuring would not have been as successful because it would just feel like another horror movie that we get all the time.
I agree.
Regardless of how good Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are in the roles. I agree with Sparks. I'm definitely just projecting my relationship with these characters onto this movie. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't care. But I'm with Ryan. It's a 7 for me.
It's fine. It makes the pass.
Though maybe it's a 6.5. Maybe I go to bed tomorrow, I wake up and be like, you know what? Maybe 6.5.
For me, it's just it's barely getting by. It is barely getting by.
If there wasn't a cool witch lady, I don't even like. Yeah, this would be way harder.
Yeah. Shall we get into our book club then?
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
All right, Sparks.
All right. We are doing Love is Love, which was put out as a benefit for survivors of the Orlando Pulse shooting back in 2016. There are many writers,
dozens,
many
artists,
dozens. So I cannot go through the list. We will be here for a long
Mark
time.
and Draco is the guy who put it together.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. That is where I wanted to go with that. this is a lot of unique pieces, many reflecting on the Pulse shooting specifically, some just reflecting on the state of the community in our country, and some just being queer representation in general. There's a lot of hits. There are a lot of hits for me in here where I think there's just some beautiful pieces.
I think most of them are hits.
Unique, yes, 100%, I agree. And there are a handful where I feel like maybe they just shouldn't have been in here to begin with.
Yeah, and I will say, I think even the ones that I don't like, I think they were obviously made with good intentions. I just think maybe it was the people who made them didn't need to say this particular thing, or the phrasing of it, or just having Batman in it at all. Sometimes just
for me,
tacky.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I found the weaker stuff, except for one, to be the DC stuff.
Yeah.
The only one that I actually enjoyed as a conclusion was the one where they're in the club and they're talking about their experiences as gay characters.
Yeah, that one's good. Yeah.
I find nothing wrong with the piece. Let's just talk about the DC character ones real quick. Actually, before I do that, Ben, just say your thoughts on this, please.
Okay.
This is very charged. It's hard.
Yeah.
We are. There's a different kind of critique you have to bring to this, so I understand.
It really is. It's really hard because I understand why this was put together. I 100% agree why it was put together. I love that it was put together and brought out, and all the proceeds that for people who bought this book went to the victims of the survivors of the Pulse shooting, because that was a horrible event in our country. Yeah. But there's something about this just did not click for me, and it's not me being a straight white male saying like, no, it's definitely not that. So when I saw the cover and said a bunch of anthology stories, that's what I was thinking. Anthology stories. Not a whole lot of one-page one-shots where a lot of the stuff I felt like just went over my head. There are good pieces in there. I do like. There are some pieces that it's like, this is good. I really like this. But there are some splash pages. I don't even know.
You actually have stumbled onto what I will agree with you. Some of these, well, it's not a critique from me. Not a critique from me. I will admit that some of these did go over my head.
Yeah. But so there's this one splash page. It's a beautiful piece of art. I believe it's a bunch of people dancing inside the club, and there's a shadowy figure by the door.
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand what the heck is going on. It's just one splash page and nothing is said.
That one should be easy.
That's the shooter.
I'm assuming it is the shooter. But I mean, the art is pretty. You see people being together having fun, but then I'm like, what's?
Actually. Real quick, Ben, because I'm looking at the page right now, or it's just somebody new coming to the club. It's like, this is like new to me.
It's not supposed to tell you which one it is, but then they are representational of the people who died. All of the people in the pages, in that splash page. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
But to Ben's credit, there's things like Hickman's piece here.
Sure.
Where I'm like, I don't get it.
That's just the isn't it the pride flag? Just like all broken up.
Is it? A lot of blacks.
I don't know.
But I recognize it as Hickman because of the lettering. I was like,
Art is. Some of this is just art meant to be interpreted. Now, look, I will say this right up front. What I appreciate about this is more just. I'm grateful we have comics.
Yeah.
I'm grateful we have it as a place where you can express art specifically about something like this in reference to it, that it benefits people, but also so that this provides a really nice outlet for a whole lot of different things, because I think there's a lot of nice, really solid, really cool ideas and emotions displayed here. There are also things where I feel like maybe they kind of missed the mark, at least for me, in the sense where I feel like they're not speaking to the moment. I know that moment was years ago, or really what it should be for. It's almost all of it is designed for interpretation. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
To agree with you on how I feel some people miss the mark. I don't know if I read it wrong, but Mark Millar's part, like the ending statement of his one shot, I felt kind of missed the mark a little.
Yeah, there are 350 million guns in America.
In the United States.
In the United States, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like the intention was good up until that point.
I mean, his purpose is saying, I get what you mean though. That his purpose is saying like all these other things have multiple uses, but a gun only exists to kill.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did like that. I actually liked that one.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
It's a one time his
I will say-
penchant for violence actually kind of works in a way.
it's totally fine if you felt that way. That is not one of the ones what I'm referring to when I say miss the mark.
There's one, and it's by our friend Mark Guggenheim. That's Batman saying like, maybe they're not so different than us.
Oh, that
like,
was Guggenheim?
Yeah. It's like talking about how like gay people like they wear masks and like hey, maybe they're not so different than us.
And he calls them heroes.
Yeah, and he's like that's
and I'm
again,
like,
that's
that's
nice.
pretty-
This is Matt Bomer.
Oh, is that Matt Bomer? Okay, there you go. Matt Bomer, good job, I guess.
Yeah, he's the one who said, and their greatest strengths are found in what they sometimes felt they needed to conceal. They really aren't so different from you and I. He's talking to Nightwing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I even still, that one didn't super work for me.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like the DC ones don't really sing for me.
I really like the James Tynion one.
His is great. Yeah.
His
About
where
him.
he talks about envisioning his adult self and the first time he wore his private. I think this is one of the things like that I love that isn't directly about the Pulse shooting, but I think is exactly what's valuable about comics. Is exactly that.
If I may, I really like Grant Morrison.
That's my favorite piece. I was going to pull that up.
That's Morrison,
my favorite
right?
piece.
Yeah, this is Grant Morrison and Jesus Marino. They did this piece together.
That is my favorite piece in terms of representing the Pulse shooting, the idea of the Pulse going through, showing the pride colors with the dancers.
That's awesome.
That is like one of the things where I'm like, this is why I love that comics can do this. Was looking at I literally there's no dialogue on those pages, listeners, and I sat there and I just looked at that representational art for a while. Just feeling like this says volumes, and I love it.
So I was looking for one for my one of my favorite pieces, but I did find the one that I also didn't like by Mark Guggenheim, and it's where Batman goes to investigate, and the cop says if he can't find the answers to why somebody did this, then nobody can because he's the greatest detective in the world. And I'm like,
I want to say I didn't like that either. However, I did like one part of this, which is this Batman piece. It's one of the few where the DC ones had a moment that really worked for me, besides one Brandon mentioned earlier. And I do want to spotlight real quick because I was trying to find it earlier. I have no problem with the Batwoman one where she consoles the person on the roof about their mom. I think that one's
not all of them.
I think that one's completely fine. It didn't bother me at all that it's a DC character. I think it's getting the message across. I think sometimes, especially because she is a gay icon superhero, I think that's totally unoffensive. I think that works. What I liked about the Batman one from Mark Guggenheim is the expression of Batman standing in there hearing all the phones going off from people calling who are not going to hear their loved one's answer. And none of the other pieces really got that specific thing. That idea of being in that room and hearing those phones go off. There is another piece that did a really good job of all the people like compiling on each other, checking in.
Oh, like
with all the word bubbles at the bottom. And I thought that was extremely beautiful and well done. But this one...
The one with the word bubbles and the text message of the couple who just came to Berlin and they're talking, the shooting happened while she was in the air. That one to me was one of the more profound ones that still sticks in my mind.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of ones like the one with the dog.
But I found that part of Mark Guggenheim's piece incredibly effective. I sat there thinking about being a person who would be in that room with all those people who had just passed, been killed, and their phones going off all at the same moment from their loved ones. Relatively, that would be what a painful cacophony of sound. And I thought that was a very effective idea, even though I think that the whole Batman of it didn't necessarily work.
Really hated Deathstrokes.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up. Here's my thing. I would have been cool with it, but the thing is that you'd have to make Deathstroke never use guns again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it means nothing. Unfortunately, it just means nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Deathstroke now just doesn't use guns because of that. What a powerful message that would be.
What does that say right there? What is that word?
I can't.
So this is probably my favorite page on here. It's a poem. It's by Mike Carey with
Tribute.
illustrations.
It's tribute.
Is it tribute?
Yeah, that's a B. It's a tribute.
Okay, sorry. It's in fancy calligraphy, but it's called
Tribute to
Tribute for Orlando. It's by Mike Carey with illustrations by Craig Hamilton and colors by Jose Villarrubia. And it's just a beautiful. I'm not going to read the poem, but it's just a really, really beautiful poem. That's it's like Swamp Thing shit. Like it is truly beautiful, talking about like how we're all the same. We all bleed the same blood. It's and like you'll see what grows out of this grave is like that is so powerful. Like
now a lot of the DC stuff, some of it hits, some of it didn't, like the one like the one with Batman. But also I kind of really do dig this art of Superman with Flag and a bunch of
it was a good
it's
one.
a good one. Or a good. Yeah.
I like that.
I love that suit.
Yes, I do.
That look that Superman has, the way the belt is, I love that suit. I think that looks great.
There's one with I'm forgetting the writer's name, but it's Phil Jimenez, and he's talking with a friend who they've been in the industry for 20 years together. Or it's Jim Chung. I don't remember. There's one where two comic book writer and artists are talking like, "Hey, we've been in the industry for 20 years, and they're both gay, and they're like, hey, we've never had to deal with this because we've been famous since we were 20, so we're like we don't know how to like we've never had to deal with this, and like it's just I'm talking about like a real life scenario that got turned into a film.
Chuck Kim and Phil Jimenez.
Thank you. I thought that was beautifully done. Like the personal. There's a lot of what I do really like about this piece that it is whatever you want it to be. It could be a picture, it could be a painting, it could be a poem, it could be a 1-page, 2-page story. It could be whatever you need to express your feelings. And that's what I really enjoy about it.
Me too.
And I even with
you can only do this collectively in comics.
Exactly. And even though there are some misses, everybody did this with their hearts, like, their hearts and minds and stuff.
I love the Zeus story. Zeus as a lover of all. I thought that was really nice.
You know who that's written by, Ryan?
Jason
Inman and and Ashley Robinson. Yeah. That was nice.
And the idea of him as a swan at the end and a swan that winks at you as swan song, I thought that was really nice. I found this page with the onomatopoeia of sexual sound extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah.
I think this might be one of the best comic pages because it's basically using the medium of comics to tell you, it really doesn't matter. It's not your business to know.
Yeah.
What's beyond the story.
Is this a girl? Is it a guy?
It's such a good way of saying you could interpret this in so many ways, and it really doesn't matter to you.
Yeah.
One other quick story that I actually want to bring up that I thought was kind of funny, and I was like, what? If there was a story about this, I'd probably read it. It's the one with the two football players who play on opposite teams. But their boyfriends. And they straight up say that they love each other before they play against each other in a football game. I just think that's funny. But at the same time, it's like, love is, even though they're about to play each other in a football game, love is still love.
I do agree with Ryan that the book, no matter how many misses or hits there are, this is well-meaning. There's not an ounce of hatred in this book, which is the point. Another DC one that I kind of thought was funny was the Poison Ivy one, where she just freaks out. She's like, flirt louder.
Oh yeah. Oh, the her and Harley one.
No, that's the later Poison Ivy one.
Oh, okay.
Where she's in the restaurant.
Oh,
yeah, I like that one. I also like the other Harley and Ivy one. I thought that was also fine. I do want to talk about just 3 in particular that I want to spotlight. First off, I want to talk about Scott Snyder's, which is just him telling a story called The Door is Open, which is a little piece of art, but he mostly just wanted to tell a story, and it was a really good story, and it was really effective, and I'm really glad that he shared that here, because it was really personal. It was very vulnerable to admit that, like, he didn't take part in necessarily making fun of the gay crowd, but he did stand by the people that did, and was next to them and associate with them, and they were always welcoming to him, and always part of that community, and he never forgot that, and he carried that with him. This is all about his story from the time he was working at Disney World, and I thought this was an incredibly good way to handle this. There's another one that I just haven't found yet, but that was the comic writer. Maybe you'll find it before I will, Brandon. Struggling to know what to put in here.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
I relate to that incredibly, and it's like the only thing I could come up with, and all the things they cross out, and it's just, I love you.
Yeah. Like the entire comic is him talking about having to write this page, and it's like,
all things you could do.
Tyler Boss.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah.
Steve Fox and Isaac Goodhart worked on this one that I thought was really great, which shows a story from the Pride Gathering in 2016 in NYC, which is all of them with the hoods in white that walked out to represent all the people who weren't there, and the moment with the one person who was a Harry Potter cast member that what they were holding the wand for. That I didn't know about, and I'm grateful that something like that was in here because I did not know that was done, and that's really, really cool. But I do want to spotlight a lot of these got me kind of emotional. One made me nearly cry, and I can't tell you why, but art speaks to you in ways, and so it's Jeff King's, which is the one where the daughter has the dad who comes down who disparages seeing guys on the TV together, and she reveals that she's gay, and the dad comes out and says, I need to drive you. I need to go with you. I need you to know that I love you, even though I said something really stupid and uncaring just a second ago. I love you no matter what. And so much of what that is expressing is why I'm glad that this is here. I think a lot of them did a really good job in general, where they decide to handle like loved ones reaching out, the text messages, the way they do the wording, or how they convey it is all really, really well done. This one with
Joshua Hale Field,
which is the one about the girl who wants to be an astronaut. A lot of good ones representing like the way kids' ideas are formed. There's the one where the two kids going home are split, and they see the news and they have different home experiences explaining the situation. One refers to people as faggots, and the kid takes that word to heart, and the other one is the kid being explained how love is for everybody. Comics allow for so many of these ideas to get across in such a powerful way, and I think some of the simplest iterations of this are some of the most powerful. But I appreciate all of what's decided to be put on the page here.
I even like the Archie one.
Oh yeah, Archie one.
I've been waiting to bring that up. I really like the Archie one. One of my favorite artists is Stephen Byrne right now. I think he's really great.
You should check out his Black Widow run he just did.
Cool. So seeing this art and then Archie was really cool.
Yeah,
and it helps that Archie's gay character. They do this sort of thing on Archie all the time with that character.
Right. I also really like and want to spotlight the piece that tells the story from the Bible about the centurion, but reimagines Jesus as Superman.
Yeah.
And explains that the word of slave has been mistranslated, and that the ancient Greek word originally was used to describe payas, and it means same-sex partner, and that's what the word meant, and what was being conveyed there. And the centurion was desperate for Jesus to save his lover, and Jesus turned to the crowd and said, "I'll tell you, not even in Israel have I found such great faith," and helped heal the person. And the fact that they decided to adapt that into a Superman story was really unique and interesting, and gave me something I didn't have before. That is the piece from Van Jensen right here. Is what I'm referring to. Yeah.
Good stuff.
You're gonna have a lot of that. We can't go through it piece by piece.
There are literally dozens.
There's beautiful pieces. Like you get comics is great for this kind of stuff. Like you get the one that's just the hearts.
Yeah, this gets shared on Twitter all the time. That's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, which is Gregory Duggan and Phil Noto.
That's a Phil Noto joint.
That is a Phil Noto. Really great stuff. Oh, I love
Bizarro.
The Bizarro one was a good one. I loved the isolation of how hate turned into different things. Hate that hate, and when it comes into the pride lettering, it changes the emphasis of what he means in hate. To hate that hate.
That's a simple, nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice.
I wanted to bring up the Dan Didio one. So this is the one that I did spotlight that I did really enjoy, and I want to be clear that I do really like this piece. I like the art. I like the message. I kind of wish it was someone else besides Dan Didio, because he was primarily responsible for a lot of these characters in this page not getting the kind of stories they deserve.
Yeah.
Such as Catwoman. So it's this one. It has Midnighter.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was Dan Didio. I didn't always remember which artist it was.
Oh no, I think
writer it was.
Yeah, I think you like that.
I did like that one. I thought that one was really good.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's really good too. It's just these characters deserved better under his tutelage also. And I
Maybe-
wanted to bring that up because especially Batwoman, J.H.
Yeah.
Williams left Batwoman because she wasn't allowed to marry Maggie.
Maybe this is his way of saying like,
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is his time. He could do that. Yeah.
I liked the interpretation of that. I thought that was really unique. That's impressive from Dan.
Yeah. That's growth.
This is the last one I want to spotlight, which is
this is so good. You're right.
Paul Azaketas, which is the robot in space collecting the energy to recharge their partner.
Mhm.
There's no words to
That's
it.
Wall-E.
It's just-
That's Wall-E shit right there.
It's just well thought out. It gets a lot across, and it's not directly connected to Pulse, but it does speak to love is love as a message. And I am just grateful that comics provides that kind of opportunity. I really am glad that we spent the time with this. This is Pride Month, which is the main reason why I decided to do this. Even though this comic was made for a response to the shooting from 5 years ago, I still think that there's a lot to glean from the art here, even if not everything clicks. Many pieces click. So I do recommend it for a read if you haven't done so.
My final one that I want to talk about, this is Love is Love is a True Story. It's about two characters, and one goes, I'm straight, me too. I love you too. I guess I'm gay now, me too. Actually, I'm transgender, cool. I guess I'm straight again, cool. I love you. Love is love. And just like, no matter what you are, who you are, just like love is love. And that is a good takeaway from this comic. Like just everyone just like, man, love is great. Just like, stop hating.
Yeah.
Stop
I
hating.
agree. I really enjoyed reading this. I'm glad I finally got to.
I didn't realize, but I just saw like the shooting was June 12th, 2016. So we're just approaching the 5 years anniversary of it itself.
And all again, like we talked about it, but like if a majority, if not all, the proceeds went to charities and stuff for Pulse. So like this was made just purely out of like love for the people and for the media to like get it out there. It's just it's a great piece of art. Like it's not a traditional comic, but it's something special.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing in that with.
It's not, you're right, and I know when I first started talking about earlier, there were quite a few pieces I enjoyed, but there were some that just went.
Yeah. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Same thing happened.
Ben, a lot of the pieces are like going to an art gallery, and at an art gallery, not everything is going to speak to you.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that. I'm just really glad that the medium exists to provide the opportunity for the artists to be able to put something like this together. Only in comics do you get this kind of thing all at once, where they get to share that, and I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah.
All right, shall we move on then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on up.
So next week we're going to skip the rotation of the book club, move Ben to the next episode because we're going to be talking about Sweet Tooth. So next week we're going to compare the first volume of Sweet Tooth, which is, I have it written, Sweet Tooth Volume 1, Out of the Deep. We're going to compare that to the TV show that has just dropped on Netflix this past weekend.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Can't wait. I've always wanted to read Sweet Tooth. We also have a Quiet Place 2. Quiet Place Part 2 review coming up this week. That should be up on by Tuesday, so check that out.
Absolutely.
And our 5th anniversary is coming up.
Yes, it is.
That episode will be dropping on June 12th.
Saturday, which is our anniversary.
Yes. Really excited about that. Probably one of the best things we've done. Can't wait for you guys to see that.
True
I
statement.
think so, but I'm very biased.
True statement.
And of course, you can check out our other shows, such as Conversation, that is audio only, where I talk to Robert L. Kelly from the Record All Monsters podcast. Next week, I'm talking to someone else, and I'm so sorry I forgot their name at this point. But I'm having a lot of fun with that show, so check that out. You can also check out more shows on our YouTube page. All right, Mag, hello. Mag says, saw the movie and good night and stay safe, gang, later. Good night, Mag.
Thanks,
Good night,
bud.
Mag.
Can't wait for you to see the 5th anniversary special.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna be blasting that on all my socials.
You can check out, of course, our other shows on this YouTube page, such as Fake Nerds Watch, which we are coming up with Loki soon. Loki is dropping on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, so a new episode of Fake Nerds Watch will be starting.
I'm so excited.
Basement Arcade, of course. Basement Arcade Pause Menu, a new episode of Basement Arcade Pause Menu is coming.
Damn right it is.
and the Fake Nerd Book Club, which just ended its audio series. So check that out on audio feed and video feed. Cool stuff. Of course, you can check out our Crafted by Z masks. We are still selling masks. They are still available at a good price. You can check those out in the link below. We also have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, we would greatly appreciate it. Only one more month to get that shirt. To get that, only like here we go. 1, 2, 3. Only like 3.5 weeks till you get that shirt. To get that shirt, that
ticking.
You can also be Stephen King's best friend, just like Ben,
but only for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, and then you got to throw it away because the shirt can no longer be available.
We got the money. Who cares?
Yeah, suck it. No, that's not true. Of course, you can check out our other tiers on the Patreon, and you can check out our TeePublic. We got plenty of new merchandise on that TeePublic. We got stickers, we got mugs, we got masks, we got shirts. Obviously, so many cool designs on those shirts. I'm happy with all of those. Check those out, and of course, you can find all of that on our website at fakenerdpodcast.com. All of that is linked below in the description. So check it out. Thank you to everyone who listens and watches this live show and watches this in general. All your support over the years has been greatly appreciated. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci for our intro music for all time. You've done all of our themes and all that. You can find him at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards, and you can find his podcast, Suburban Proctologist, on iTunes, and Facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official, and Instagram at SubProc Podcast.
Nice.
You can find our good friend Mike Matola, because he did our logos. I'm wearing a Mike Matola original. Well, it's not an original, but whatever. You can find him at Mike Matola. And of course, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben?
You can still find me posting way too many pictures of my adorable little kitty cat at BenMagnet27 on Instagram and Twitter. And also, there was no new article this week, but there's going to be a new one this upcoming week for oldschoolgamermagazine.com. So that link is going to be in the description for next episode. But of course, if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, I'm going to be posting the ever-loving crap out of it. So you can read it there.
Sparks.
You can find me editing together our 5th anniversary special at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
And
God,
Ryan.
my friend.
DJ Tony Snark everywhere.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, guys, stay fake nerds.
What the fuck can we do?